Every moment from every game from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProViewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch New Mexico's best.
Voted the best sports show in New Mexico
for 5 years running. It's the OD in the AM with Jeff Symbieta and JJ Buck.
The NBA is in a weird spot right now. It's got good teams, a ton of star-level players. We have the superstar conversation weekly. Who's in, who's out, who do you want leading your franchise? You get to the marquee part of your season, the Eastern and Western Conference Finals. And it is absolute dud after dud. And it happened again last night. I think a lot of people believe Boston is a better team, even the way we've talked about Jimmy Butler. And I've said he's a superstar. I've said I believe he's the best two-way player in the game, and he had 6 points last night. It was never a game. Miami starts 0 of 14 from the field. Boston wins that game convincingly 102-82. It's not even close. And so what do you do if you're the NBA? Because I think your league is in a really good spot. It's full of very marketable players, exciting players, potential for teams, but just absolute duds on the biggest stage leading up to your championship. What it do, everyone? Welcome in to the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal. Amory, I am JJ Buck, and the man joining us today, this man, he hates your favorite team, and his name is Jeff Grammer from the Albuquerque Journal. Jeff, what's up, man?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Doing great.
This is the 7 a.m. stuff. I'm telling you, every time I come here, I say the same thing, but it is a different time of day for me than my nighttime hours. But it's fun to be here. A lot going on, and everything you just laid out about the NBA is crazy to me because I don't think there's anything you're supposed to do to fix it. What are you supposed to do? Like, not have these two teams there, not have one team pile it on in a quarter if they can. So I don't know. It's not entertaining basketball right now, but these are the four teams you got. It's kind of like politics. Like, this is what you got to choose from, right?
What are you picking?
Yeah, it's kind of it's a bit of a head scratcher because I do think Miami coming into this series was playing great basketball. I think Boston might be the best team overall right now, as you kind of alluded to. And then in the West, where it is a 3-0 series right now, it's kind of boring basketball, and it's being dominated too, not quarter by quarter like it is in the East, but it's interesting times right now because this is the time of year where a lot of casual fans that don't watch the NBA all year, the people that complain about the NBA all year, this is the time of year they usually watch it and usually get excited about it. And right now it's like, this isn't very fun basketball to watch.
It's not. And last night was, all right, what show did I miss over the weekend? What episodes do I need to catch up on?
No, you're too busy being a TV star.
Yes, I watched the game because I was on TV last night, and it was great timing. Like, oh, by the way, shout out to KOAT Channel 7, Ron Burke, Bethany Miller. They did a basketball special. The game was on ABC last night, So they did a whole hour from 9 up until the 10 o'clock newscast. And so I watched the game intently the entire way through. But they asked me that on Channel 7. They're broadcasting the game. They're like, is this fun for fans? And the answer is no. Yeah. It's not fun for NBA fans right now because you're not getting that memorable fourth quarter moment. You're not getting the superstar player having that clutch play. You're getting star performances. You're getting unbelievable lines. But specifically in the Boston-Miami series, because I don't think anyone's surprised that Golden State's ran out the way they've had. But to look at a series where at times we've said, oh, that's the best team in the Eastern Conference. Oh, that's the best team in the Eastern Conference. They could win a championship. To have games where Boston had a 25-point lead after half in Game 2. The Heat jump out to a 26-point lead in Game 3. To see last night a team miss their first 14 shots. They did not hit their first field goal of the game, the Miami Heat, until 3:21 in the first quarter. Those wild swings are unbelievable.
No dog in the fight in the Eastern Conference for me. I don't care which of those two teams wins, but I was absolutely rooting in the first quarter, which is about the only full. It is the only full quarter I watched last night. I I was absolutely rooting for a full quarter without a field goal. And once it got to about the 6-minute mark, I'm like, all right, if they could do one more possession, then you're starting to look at the clock. I'm like, okay, between shot clock and them having the ball, you're looking at about 30 seconds. If they miss here and Boston gets the ball, you're going to shave off another 30 to 40 seconds. And every time they missed and Boston got a rebound, I'm like, all right, this might get down to 5 minutes now, might get down to 3 minutes. So that was what I was rooting for last night. You mentioned you were on ABC, and look, good for them. They had NBA Eastern Conference Finals.
Well, the ratings went up at 9 o'clock.
The ratings went up when you were on, and that's a good thing because, as I told you, I was after that first quarter, I went ahead and watched with my wife. I watched Better Call Saul, and that was a much better spent night.
Yeah, I should have done that.
And I won't give any spoilers, but oh man, if you guys want to talk some like real drama, that was good stuff last night. Anybody who watched it knows. But we're here for sports, and let's talk about that entertaining Celtics Heat game.
And that's the thing.
Do I know how to sell it or what?
Right. And in this series, Marie, game one, there was no Marcus Smart, Al Horford, they're out. But then we see the injuries last night. Well, there's no Tyler Hero. Oh, no Marcus Smart again. They did that without the Defensive Player of the Year. And they're like, we don't need this guy. We're good.
And Jimmy Butler had 6 points. But besides that, JJ and I watched the NBA. We're big NBA fans, Jeff. We watch it all year, and we just didn't want to blow out last night. That's all we asked for.
Talking about
but
a blowout.
At the same time, I wasn't surprised because the game before this, game that we know that third quarter should have happened, and I knew the Celtics were going to come out and be like, it's on.
And we know that. It's like, this isn't news. And
no.
And Jeff, you've been in this situation a ton. We've all been there. We go to the post-game press conference. It's like, all right, you responded. Did you feel like you had to come out more energy, more effort? Like, it's happened like 2 times to each team in this series. Why is that something new? Why are we asking these teams in the conference finals, did you respond? Did you need to bring – was there urgency? Why is this happening again?
Well, and at this point of the season, at this point in their careers and where they are in the NBA, I'll kind of scroll through the UNM Lobo Rolodex here for some famous quotes in the past decade. You don't coach effort at that level. Like, there was a coach here that got slammed for saying that, but you're not supposed, like, these Newt Rockne speeches and stuff like that aren't supposed to happen at this level. You don't need to find a way to motivate your players every game. You're not supposed to anyway. That is part of the job as a professional, is you find ways to keep yourself healthy, keep yourself prepared, all that kind of stuff, and keep yourself motivated. And a coach isn't supposed to be the guy to keep your energy up. Your energy should be up because of you. To further illustrate the point of kind of what's going on in the East versus the West, in the West, while it is 3-0, there have been 2 quarters. I went quarter by quarter for both of these series. There have been 2 quarters where there's been a scoring margin of more than 10 points. Both of those were in Game 2 in the second half. Golden State outscored Dallas by 12 points in the third quarter and 11 points in the fourth quarter. In the Eastern Conference Finals, through 4 games, so there's been one more game, there have been 5 of those games. There was a 25-point quarter, a 21-point quarter, an 18-point quarter last night, a 14 and an 11 in Game 2. So you're talking about these quarters that are just totally making the game unwatchable the rest of the time, because if you just outscore a team in the NBA, you outscore a team by 5 points a quarter, you're going to beat them by 20, and that's a blowout. So you're doing it by 25 in one quarter. Like, I know the NBA is a game of runs, and people always come back, and this and that is sort of the mantra about the NBA. You're not doing it when the first quarter you're already outscoring somebody by 25 or by 18 or by 20. And that's what's been going on in the Eastern Conference Finals. So, again, I don't know what you're supposed to do to it. I don't think there's a fix for this.
There's not
It's going to be the most annoying Game 7. Just kidding. Hopefully they're just leading it up for Game 7 while the Warriors are resting.
So, this is the thing. While you're not getting anything that wows you,
maybe the Game 7
like
will
Boston,
be what wows
Miami,
us.
they're going to give you 7 games.
Yeah.
They might not be 7 of the greatest conference final games you've ever seen, but they're going to give you 7 of them.
If you just send this to a neutral court, maybe they could split those quarters, Like, Boston may be up 25 at the end of the first quarter, then tied at halftime, then Miami up 30 at the end of the third quarter, then a great finish. If you could just do that, that'd be fun, but, like, that's not what's been happening. In fact, it's the opposite. It's the fourth quarter hasn't determined these games at all in this series. The first quarter has determined every single one of them, pretty much. I guess the third quarter in that first series when Miami made that comeback. But this has been kind of decided after the first quarter, which can't make the TV folk that have have these games on, all that excited. You know, your rating. I don't know how they chart the ratings throughout a game. I can't imagine the ratings in the fourth quarter have been great for this series at all.
No, but that's why when 9 o'clock hit, those ratings spiked on Channel 7 last night for that post-game show.
I was glad Better Call Saul was over so I could flip it over to KOAT real quick and watch J.J. Buck.
But a big thank you to KOAT, Ron Burke, Bethany Miller, had a lot of fun. And then the closer, Kenny Thomas, joining us as well, talking some hoops, scoops, and alley-oops, give and takes, and much more. And we still got plenty to talk about because while it hasn't been entertaining on the court, there's a lot to take away. And then especially if you look ahead for a team like the Boston Celtics, who I think are going to win this series. But how important is it to have Marcus Smart? Could Boston somehow extending this series but not losing it in 7 games benefit them getting Marcus Smart back on the court if they have to play the Golden State Warriors? And what do you expect out of the Dallas Mavericks? Luka Doncic, his last 2 raw, his team down 3-0 in that series. Joined by Jeff Grammer this morning, Albuquerque Journal, coming up at 9:30. Josh Shushan is going to jump on. Topes are back in town, but I also want to talk to him about 1 week in automated balls and strikes. So this is the first time we're going to see it in Albuquerque. It's not the umpire. It's the automated balls and strike system that's going to be calling the game. What does that mean for the fan? Are you going to notice a difference? Is it going to be awkward? Who are you going to yell at? Who are you going to yell at?
Come on, Jeff.
What are you doing up there, Grammer, in the press box?
What kind of call was that, Grammer?
We'll talk with Josh Shushan coming up at 9:30. You can find us on the socials. Hit up Part-Time Bro. You can find me _JJ Buck. That is at Jeff Grammer with a bunch of G's in his name, kind of like Zimbietta, but Grammer over here. And you want to send an email, jj@sportsanimalabq.com. It is the opening drive on ProView Networks and 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Mix a little sports analysis, pop culture.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot. It's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
For certified collision and body repair, visit the experts at CarCrafters. 5 locations in Albuquerque and Rio Rancho. Visit carcrafters.com.
CarCrafters, it's like it never happened.
The energy landscape is limitless and ever-changing. Cleaner energy resources are crucial to New Mexico's environment. For 100 years, PNM has utilized cutting-edge technology and employed hard-working New Mexicans to ensure that we have consistent, reliable energy when we need it. For life's loudest moments, quietest moments, and every moment in between. We're dedicated to providing you with energy now and into the future. All you have to do is dream of what to do with it next.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
For 50 years, Clark's Pet Emporium has been your pet's favorite stop. Fish, birds, cats, dogs, reptiles, and small animals. Clark's has built a tradition of friendly, knowledgeable service focused on affordable, quality pet care products and food. Locally owned and operated with 2 convenient locations for all your pet needs, including an extensive selection of gifts for both owners and pets. 11200 Manal Northeast or 4914 Lomas Northeast. Clark's Pet Emporium is celebrating 50 years. Thank you, Albuquerque, the Pet Supply Superstore. ClarksPets.com.
Dream style stucco. Stucco is the way to go. A Southwest tradition, beautiful and durable. The perfect combination. Your favorite color, your favorite texture. You're gonna love it when they put it all together. Through any weather, nothing looks better. From the smooth to the rough, they really know their stuff. Nobody does stucco like Dream style stucco. For your business or your home, Valley Fence stands alone. We're number 1 in New Mexico for a reason. It's the best fence you can own. Proudly serving New Mexico for over 50 years. At Valley Fence, the difference is clear. No fence too big, too small, or difficult. We handle them all at Valley Fence Company.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Who has the best chance of beating the Golden State Warriors between the Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat? Because one of those teams is going to get a chance to play for an NBA championship.
I think it depends on the day.
Yeah. What day of the
Every
week
other
are they
game.
playing? Mondays, it could be Miami. Tuesday, it could be Boston.
Maybe the East could find a way to have them both play and just alternate games. Boston plays game 1, Miami plays game 2. If they did that, then they could sweep the Warriors. But unless you get them on the wrong game, I guess. If you alternate them the wrong game, then it's...
And that is it. That's what we're taking the Eastern Conference Finals. It's a weird spot for the NBA to be in because overall, things look pretty good. There's good teams in this league. The star players are sprinkled throughout the league. We're talking about new superstars this season, having that conversation of Jimmy Butler finally getting his due, even though he's been to an NBA final, but just seeing him do it once again this season. It was Jason Tatum pushing that bubble, and yet the Eastern Conference Finals does not have a game which you need to watch in the fourth quarter. They've had that third quarter.
Yep.
They've had that third quarter when the Heat outscored the Celtics 39-14 in game 1, but it's been all over the place. It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal. JJ Buck, Amory, joined by Jeff Grammer, Albuquerque Journal, hanging out with us this morning. And to me, I think Boston is going to win this series. I picked them to win the Eastern Conference Finals. I think Boston always has 2 of the 3 best players on the floor in this series. I think Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown should always be 2 of the 3 best players on the floor. You have that debate of, Jimmy Butler between Jason Tatum. But then you saw last night, too, Robert Williams. He's one of those guys that changes games with his athleticism, with their size. So Miami loves to be physical. They want to be a physical basketball team. But they're physical in a different way as opposed to where Boston can come at you with the traditional bigs. When you're starting Williams and Horford, they ate up Bam Adebayo. Where did he go in that game after scoring 31 points in the previous game? He was nowhere to be found last night. And that's what I think makes it really interesting for the Boston Celtics. I don't think they have a chance against Golden State if Marcus Smart is out because he is the defensive player of the year in that league. He's someone who can throw at Steph Curry and hang with his quickness some, be physical, throw in a Klay Thompson. Heck, someone's got to guard Andrew Wiggins too at some point in time in that series. But they have that versatility on the wing. Robert Williams, Al Horford can move just enough. And we also saw that in the Golden State-Memphis series, that when Steven Adams came back and they threw him in that lineup, it caused some trouble for the Warriors when they went big. So I think Boston, if you're looking at these two teams, whether you want to say what day they're playing, I think they have the best shot of the two against Golden State.
I will say this about Miami: when you're the team that wants to be physical and that is part of your identity. You have a first quarter like last night where it just sort of snowballs, and being the physical team and trying to set the tone with your physicality, well, turns into 10, 11, 12 free throws a quarter. And if you look at the free throw disparity last night, I mean, you get why there was a blowout. It was 8 of 14 for Miami from the line and 32 of 38 for the Celtics. So when you're outscoring, let's see, it's by 24. When you're outscoring somebody by 24 points at the line, well, the physical team sometimes, like, you out physical yourself sometimes, and you kind of play yourself out of a game, because if the refs are calling it that way, you're out of luck, like Miami was last night. They also weren't hitting shots, which was obviously a big part of it. But against Golden State, you give them any extra points, you know they're going to go on a few 3-minute runs throughout the game where they're going to score 9-0, 8-0, quick runs like that. So I do think that Boston probably plays maybe within themselves defensively a little bit more, where they don't have runs where they're just going to put you on the free throw line 10, 11, 12 times a quarter. I do think Boston probably. I agree with you that Boston is the team that has a better chance right now. Though I don't know how Golden State's going to lose, not going to win.
Golden State is, if you're looking, say, all right, who's like the great team? It's Golden State, because there's good teams, but Golden State, you trust in them to have the consistency.
Yeah,
it's not just been there, done that. It's what they've added. And we're talking about Heat culture last night. I was asked a question about the role players and how does it work. And well, Eric Spoelstra's been there 14 years. I don't know if anyone realizes that Spoelstra's been the head coach of Miami Heat for 14 seasons. So you had that with Stan Van Gundy. Like, man, everyone just takes Stan Van Gundy's job. Pat Riley stepped in after like 21 games, took over the Miami Heat, won an NBA championship, coached for 2 more seasons, then handed it to Eric Spoelstra. And even when we talk about the Heatles, LeBron James coming in, there was that backbone. As Pat Riley had Eric Spoelstra's back, they built that, they've sustained that. So even without the 2 Hall of Fame players, you bring in Jimmy Butler, you get a new sense of it. But I talk about that to talk about what we're seeing in Golden State, is because what they've done over the last decade is very similar. And what they did over this weekend, when you think about franchises with 200-plus playoff wins, it's easy to name the first 2. You're like, oh, Lakers, Celtics. I'm sure some people will be like, oh, probably the Chicago Bulls, right, with what they did with Michael Jordan. But franchises with 200-plus playoff wins, it's Lakers, Celtics, Spurs, Sixers, and then Golden State Warriors joined them this past weekend.
I think a big part of that, too, you kind of led this off going down this path, is I'm looking at a list right now of the longest tenured head coaches in the NBA. Obviously, everyone knows Greg Popovich is number 1. He's been coaching San Antonio since 1996. Some people wonder what the head coach does at the NBA level. How much of an impact does that person really have on a team? Well, you're kind of watching right now that the Miami Heat, number 2, Eric Spoelstra, since 2008, he's been the head coach. And number 3 is Steve Kerr, and he's been there just since 2014. So your third longest tenured head coach in the NBA, he's only been there 8 years. But number 2 and 3 in the league, they have coaches that set this culture and set this identity, and they stick with it. It's not a flip-flop every single year where they're doing something different. So I think that if you're wanting to consistently be at this level, like Golden State has been, you need that consistency at the top. And not only has it been Steve Kerr, but you look at Mike Brown, who has the Albuquerque connection, now the Sacramento Kings head coach, but still the number 2 on that bench. He's been there for several years too. And that's why Golden State is the team they are right now and is still kind of in the run there. And if they win this year too, like, what does that do to their sort of legacy? I know it's been a little bit. It's been a minute since they were, for a while there, we were thinking Golden State was the dynasty of this era, right? And then kind of fell off a little bit. It looked like when they had the 73-win season and all that, like, wow, what they're doing is changing the game. This is a great run. Well, maybe it still is.
It is. And I think a lot of people, it's always weird the way they judge the Warriors with Kevin Durant, because they'll have that like conversation, oh, did Kevin Durant actually win an NBA championship? He just joined a really good team. What we're seeing right now is a reminder of what got the Warriors to the point that someone like Kevin Durant wanted to join them, understood that he steps on that floor, no one is beating that team, because they're doing it again with the player development, with building around Steph Curry. And you know what this is, Jeff? This is New England Patriots.
Yeah, unfortunately, you might be right.
It's the, how good, well, they haven't won in a while, and then you just look and like, oh, they're winning again. Here they are again.
I mean, I had to remind myself, so I just pulled up a list of NBA champions, and it was 3 times from 15 to 18, with Cleveland winning the one in 2016. So they had a 4-year span where they won 3, and it's only been 3 years. I actually thought it was like 4 years since they had won one, but it's been 3 years. Toronto, the Lakers, and the Bucks last year. If they win one this year, which I think they probably are going to do at this point, that's going to be 4 in an 8-year span. It's kind of hard to argue with the dynasty talk at that point. 4 in an 8-year span, pretty impressive.
Well, the Eastern Conference Finals isn't over, but so it's one. If you're betting money line, I think you go Miami just to keep on the trend of what we've seen. But if you're looking forward, Dallas, you're done. You're not coming back in this series. Who has the best shot to play the Golden State Warriors, the Miami Heat or the Boston Celtics? We got a ton to get to. We have Jeff Grammer, Albuquerque Journal, some call Nick Saban the czar of college football. This guy's the czar of Mountain West basketball. So we're going to pick his brain on that. Amory, JJ Buck here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Kirtland Federal Credit Union is New Mexico strong, has been that way.
For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
High school sports are back. You can watch every ProView Network broadcast online on the NFHS network. Every moment from every game from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProViewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch New Mexico's best.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
High school sports are back. You can watch every ProView Network broadcast online on the NFHS network. Every moment from every game from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProViewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch New Mexico's best.
For certified collision and body repair, visit the experts at CarCrafters. 5 locations in Albuquerque and Rio Rancho. Visit CarCrafters.com.
CarCrafters, it's like it never happened.
The energy landscape is limitless and ever-changing. Cleaner energy resources are crucial to New Mexico's environment. For 100 years, PNM has utilized cutting-edge technology and employed hard-working New Mexicans to ensure that we have consistent, reliable energy when we need it. For life's loudest moments, quietest moments, and every moment in between. We're dedicated to providing you with energy now and into the future All you have to do is dream of what to do with it next.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
For 50 years, Clark's Pet Emporium has been your pet's favorite stop. Fish, birds, cats, dogs, reptiles, and small animals. Clark's has built a tradition of friendly, knowledgeable service focused on affordable, quality pet care products and food. Locally owned and operated, with 2 convenient locations for all your pet needs, including an extensive selection of gifts for both owners and pets. 11200 Manal Northeast or 4914 Lomas Northeast. Clark's Pet Emporium is celebrating 50 years. Thank you, Albuquerque, the pet supply superstore. ClarksPets.com.
Dream style stucco. Stucco is the way to go. A Southwest tradition, beautiful and durable. The perfect combination. Your favorite color, your favorite texture. You're gonna love it when they put it all together. Through any weather, nothing looks better. From the smooth to the rough, they really know their stuff. Nobody does stucco like Dream style stucco. For your business or your home, Valley Fence stands alone. We're number 1 in New Mexico for a reason. It's the best fence you can own. Proudly serving New Mexico.
Best dudes you're ever going to meet. Keep this machine running around here at Cumulus Media. So, break room.
Oh,
Someone around here is trying to stay off the caffeine, which doesn't make any sense.
Wait, now what?
Because I don't know if you've noticed, but we have traditional coffee pots out there. You know, the whole
We have the
filter.
Keurig in here if you need coffee.
Keurig in there. I always forget about that. I do.
Because of the wonderful Mike Vitale, the real legend here. at Cumulus.
Coffee he brings in. It's
Coffee
fantastic.
and the Keurig machine.
But I go out the break room, and this isn't a oh no, someone didn't make coffee again story. They should be fired. It's the who the heck isn't consuming copious amounts of caffeine around here. It's what you do in life.
Yes.
Is you overstimulate yourself.
Yes.
I don't even know if caffeine works anymore, but I still pump it into my body just because. What is that placebo effect? You think it's working?
I think as a parent, as someone who works really early in the morning, and you have to be on, I think maybe just, I don't know.
Well, as a parent, you know, you just don't sleep anymore. you just know that.
The coffee just doesn't work.
Well, there's always something. And it's what you sign up for. I absolutely love it. Like I got home last night, little one, not doing great. So who gets to stay up with him and just sit there? This guy. I love it, though. It's my job. But someone around here is not consuming caffeine, and I don't know about it because one of the coffee pots says decaf.
Oh, I saw that. I think
like,
that's
who does
new.
that? Who would do
I think
that?
that's new.
We have to have 2 full caffeinated coffee pots. And so I have put regular coffee in that coffee pot, and I have not been, I haven't thought twice. I'm like, well, it's your fault for thinking that we're going to have 1 decaf coffee pot in the morning at a radio station.
So the decaf in there has calf.
Absolutely.
Wow.
I have not thought twice about it when we've needed to make it. Because I'm like,
JJ
I don't know.
Power move.
Yeah.
I don't know who that person is. Get out of here with that mess. But so they put it on the handle like a printed label. Decaf.
There's somebody walking around in their day right now that's just so wired and can't understand like what's going on.
It's JJ Buck ruined your coffee. I'll put it out there. I'll own that.
No, they're probably happier.
Responsibility. But then someone printed a label for the other one that said actual coffee.
Well, someone
You?
someone's going
Was that
home from work all the time saying, "Look, I don't even need the caffeine. I still feel great. I swear I've been drinking decaf and it's just wonderful. Like I feel great."
Who's doing that? You can't do that. Have 1 whole pot decaf in the morning.
No.
Get out of here. I get it if it's maybe working the night shift and you want to kind of limit it.
Yeah,
late
because
or something.
I don't drink coffee past like 3 now because I try to go to bed early.
Because you're old.
I'm an old lady.
Amory got old overnight, y'all.
I did.
She got married and she goes to bed after they go to the buffet. They place their
Hey.
parlays, go to the buffet, and then go to bed.
That's Absolutely 100%. Jeff, in my marriage, this is what happens. I go to sleep at halftime, and if it's a really good fourth quarter, he wakes me up. I think that's a really
You
good...
got a lot of good sleep at the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
I'm honestly, after I tweeted out something for us, I was like, this is where I'm going to bed.
But if like he consistently wakes you up for a good fourth quarter, that's
yes.
that's love.
Oh,
Like,
it is love, yeah.
I mean,
true love.
I don't know what else you can ask for, really.
Jeff Graham, Albuquerque Journal, Amory, JJ Buck with you here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal. Also catch us on ProView Networks. Adrian rocking it as always, Comcast Channel 26. And on the interwebs, you can find us whatever social media platform you prefer. ProView Networks has got us rocking in the morning. So people were screaming constantly over and over, Grammer, where are the recruits? Grammer, when are the Lobos going to do something? Grammer, don't they understand they need a forward? And you're like, yo,
just a minute,
I got you.
Yeah, I got this under control, guys.
This is a situation in which the world is a-changing. There's a lot of players in the transfer portal. There's different deadlines these days with getting the feedback for the NBA draft, the June 1st deadline of withdrawing your name for the NBA draft. It's just going to take some time. And we see the team down south, New Mexico State, signing a bunch of people, getting everyone hyped, getting excited. Greg Hires first season. You understand that they had to pretty much rebuild the entire roster.
I think they got 2 guys that played coming back.
So once you talk through it, you see, okay, I see, but there were still some hesitant Lobo fans. We haven't been able to catch up with you since the Lobos filled those 2 forward positions. What have you heard about the additions, and what do you think about them joining this program?
I will do the customary kind of Jeff Grammer backhanded, maybe, some people have told me, description of what they just signed. Exactly what they needed. Like, the good of it is this. I'll give you the good first. They targeted these 2 guys pretty early, and they are the 2 guys. There were about 4 or 5 targets, first of all. It wasn't like these are the only 2. But when Richard Pitino says we got the 2 guys we targeted, he's right. They had a pretty narrow focus on what they were really, really going for, and these 2 guys were absolutely 2 of them. They needed a center, a guy who could start at the 5. They got that in Morris Udeze from Wichita State. They needed another big to kind of bolster the front court to help Jay Allen Tovar get some minutes there at a versatile 4, can play on the outside, can attack the basket, can add strength. And Josiah Alec from UMKC, from Kansas City, absolutely is that as well. So they got exactly what they needed. Now, I do want to temper expectations because I don't know, people listening may not want to hear this, and this may surprise you, JJ, but sometimes Lobo fans get a little excited about the recruiting season.
No.
And before a guy's ever walked down that ramp in a pair of shorts, as you guys like to point out, we're already crowning the team and their success, and we're already crowning the players as the next great thing. Neither one of these guys who have played considerable minutes and considerable amount of games, neither one of these guys were all league in their leagues that they played in. So it's not like the Lobos just added 2 guys who were starring in their previous spots for many seasons, but they got 2 guys who were starters and 2 guys who are probably going to come in here, and one of them will start. Potentially both of them are going to be starters. So the Lobos just added 2 starters. Not everybody can be an all-league player. I get that. But what they added is exactly what they needed, but maybe not superstars. They didn't exactly add 2 superstars. They have 2 guards returning that are all-league. There's not a whole lot of people in the Mountain West that can say they're returning 2 all-league players. In fact, I think there's only 2, maybe 3 teams in the league that have multiple all-league players coming back. It's Wyoming, obviously, is one of them. UNM's one of them. And I guess I'm not off the top of my head even going to be able to tell you who the other one is. Well, I guess Colorado State, depending on Roddy. So, look, they got 2 players that they needed, 2 players that potentially will be starters. I just want to remind people they didn't get 2 all-league guys. So there's that.
And with that, when you're looking at the Lobos and trying to figure out, all right, what do these guys do other than filling the need? Udeze, Alec inside, it feels like, and you mentioned it, Jay Allen Tovar, and so I think especially Javonte Johnson, slide into better roles, and thus
slide. That's what these two guys do for a lot of people.
Them on the wing, a spot that was a big question mark for them last year.
I think that what this does is you have now, if you want to go position by position, you have a valuable and viable number 2 at every position. If you want to go 1 through 5, if you want to do the traditional 1 through 5, although it's kind of positionless, I get all that. But if you want to go a depth chart real quick, you're looking at a point guard rotation of Jalen House and Donovan Dent, the freshman coming in who was player of the year in California. You got a 1-2 there. If you want to say that at the 2, you're going to go Jamal Mashburn with KJ Jenkins as his backup, like that's a pretty good 1-2 punch, although Jalen House is going to play some of the 2, and really they play 3 guards, but we'll just stick with the traditional 1 through 5. Jalen House, Donovan Dent at the point guard. At the 2 guard spot, you got Jamal Mashburn, KJ Jenkins. At the 3, you now have Javonte Johnson, who started pretty much every game last year. I believe he did start every game last year, but pretty much at the 4, the 3-4 kind of spot. He can now focus as a 3, which is a better position for him. Now he's very strong and could handle the 4 if he needs to, but he's also better kind of catch and shoot creator from the outside than he was trying to have to play inside at all. And I think he can attack. But you got Emmanuel Quach, who, while he played some center and broke his leg when he started against Utah State as a center, he's a 3, and he could be a backup 3. So you got those 3 guys at the 3. You then have at the 4, J. Allen Tovar and Josiah Alec, who was just signed. Like those 2 guys, one of those guys is going to start, and one of those guys is going to get a ton of minutes off the bench, maybe be the first guy off the bench, if not KJ Jenkins. And then at the 5, you now have Morris Udeze, the transfer from Wichita State, is going to be the starter and give them good minutes. And Sebastian Forsling, who had a really solid freshman season in terms of progression from game 1 to the final game of the season. He was getting better. Now he has to play, 18 to 25 minutes a game is all he has to play. And, of course, all this gets thrown out the window with injuries. We get all that. But if Sebastian Forsling is your year 2 in his progression, a year 2 backup, that is so much better for him, I think, than trying to force him into a starting role again next year.
And now the great question that Jeff Symbieta gets all the time, where is the playing time going to come from? We'll talk about the rotation and look at the Mountain West. What does the rest of the league look like right now in terms of players coming back? What do we know as we sit here on May 24th trying to predict the next season of Mountain West Hoops? Amory, Jeff Grammer, JJ Buck. It's opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports.
Mexico for over 50 years. At Valley Fence, the difference is clear. No fence too big, too small, or difficult. We handle them all at Valley Fence Company.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
High school sports are back. You can watch every ProView Network broadcast online on the NFHS network. Every moment from every game from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProViewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch New Mexico's best.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
For certified collision and body repair, visit the experts at CarCrafters. 5 locations in Albuquerque and Rio Rancho. Visit carcrafters.com.
CarCrafters, it's like it never happened.
The energy landscape is limitless and ever-changing. Cleaner energy resources are crucial to New Mexico's environment. For 100 years, PNM has utilized cutting-edge technology and employed hard-working New Mexicans to ensure that we have consistent, reliable energy when we need it. For life's loudest moments, quietest moments, and every moment in between. We're dedicated to providing you with energy now and into the future. All you have to do is dream of what to do with it next.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
For 50 years, Clark's Pet Emporium has been your pet's favorite stop. Fish, birds, cats, dogs, reptiles, and small animals. Clark's has built a tradition of friendly, knowledgeable service focused on affordable, quality pet care products and food. Locally owned and operated, with 2 convenient locations for all your pet needs, including an extensive selection of gifts for both owners and pets. 11200 Manal Northeast or 4914 Lomas Northeast. Clark's Pet Emporium is celebrating 50 years. Thank you, Albuquerque, the Pet Supply Superstore. ClarksPets.com.
Dream style stucco. Stucco is the way to go. The Southwest tradition, beautiful and durable. The perfect combination. Your favorite color, your favorite texture. You're gonna love it when they put it all together. Through any weather, nothing looks better. From the smooth to the rough, they really know their stuff. Nobody does stucco like Dream style stucco. For your business or your home, Valley Fence stands alone. We're #1 in New Mexico for a reason. It's the best fence you can own. Proudly serving New Mexico for over 50 years. At Valley Fence, the difference is clear. No fence too big, too small, or difficult. We handle them all at Valley Fence Company.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
High school sports are back. You can watch every ProView Network broadcast online on the NFHS network. Every moment from every game from every sport, including all
on 95.9 FM and AM 610. The Sports Animal.
Hey Marie, there's some things I wonder about. Like, I'm all about safety, but in 2022, why Boomer Esiason has to remind us to put our seatbelt on? Or like, you're in a restroom, it's like employees must wash hands, or what? If that sign wasn't there, they wouldn't?
I always wonder. I think it should say everyone should wash their hands.
I know. Like, oh, I'm not an employee. I don't have to wash my hands. I can just walk out of this restroom. It's just a gentle
supposed to make
reminder.
us all feel better.
Like on shampoo bottles, rinse and repeat. Well, how many times?
I'm kind of an eye-opening morning for me here. JJ fills a decaf pot of coffee with caffeinated coffee. He's now complaining that people want you to be safe in your vehicles. He is now wondering why some businesses ask their employees to wash their hands.
It's all businesses.
Like,
okay, but this is the real problem with the coffee here. People will get to the bottom of the coffee pot and then not start a new pot. And then so you're running out on break and you need more caffeine for your hot takes. And it's just like, why? Why do you leave an empty coffee pot? It's like leaving the empty milk carton in the fridge.
It's not iced takes. You can't have iced coffee.
Exactly.
Oh, I don't know why, but that was one of the funniest things I've ever heard. More coffee for everyone.
We're doing a sports show in here. You got to have some hot takes. You need.
Yeah.
I will say this about the caffeinated situation here. If you want decaf, you need to take it upon yourself to be the first person in there every morning if you want to fill that pot up. But if that pot sits there's a time limit. And if you only have 2 pots, and you guys have a 2-pot system going here,
yes,
as I've noticed, if you have 2 pots and one of them sitting there all day because the person makes a whole pot for decaf and has 1 cup in the morning, and everybody else is emptying that regular caffeinated, leaded and unleaded coffee, like if everyone else has to basically keep remaking that 1 pot, you're the decaf person messing it up for everybody. I get that. So in that case, maybe what JJ did isn't the most evil thing I've ever heard. But
I'll be careful going forward.
You guys know Jimmy Butler's obsessed with coffee, right?
He is.
He's like obsessed.
He made a business out of it in the bubble.
Yeah.
He was selling
and now
coffee.
he's like, yeah.
You know what happened last night?
He had decaf.
He had decaf.
For the game.
Somebody put decaf in what he thought was regular coffee.
Yeah, that's what happened. That's what got him 6 points.
It's a Boston Garden, man. It's those leprechauns.
Oh. I didn't realize how obsessed with coffee he was. So
big coffee guy.
Big coffee guy.
That's his thing.
Got to be with whatever you're doing. It's about consistency. This is a good segue to open up one of our topics, and it is a look at the Mountain West. So we talked about the Lobos and where they sit with their roster going into next season. This is the first time in a while, Mr. Jeff Grammer, joining us from Albuquerque Journal, that from top to bottom, every team's bringing back their head coach.
Yeah, and I mentioned this to you. Like I remember a few years back kind of looking it up to see what the average coach turnover in this league was, and it was about 2 coaches a year. And for there to be no turnover, I think in the 23 years, we're now entering the 23rd year of the Mountain West, 24th season actually of the Mountain West, because it started in a 0 year. 99-2000 was the first year of the Mountain West. So we're about to go into the 24th season of the Mountain West. I think there have been 3 years where this is off the top of my head, I don't have a list in front of me. I think there have been 3 seasons where there wasn't coaching turnover of some sort. And so it's pretty rare. And what that means, I guess we'll find out. Maybe it doesn't mean a whole lot, yeah. But I think this league has been a little up and down in the past 8 years, and part of that has to do with the coaching turnover, certainly at UNM. And Richard Pitino said this just last week. You can't have a program consistently succeed if you're changing the head coach or an athletic director or the people at the top of a program every 4 years. And I'm like, well, 4 years, yeah, okay. If it's not working out, I understand a change after 4 years. But he's right. Like, you hope in that span, instead of 4 year change, 4 year change, 4 years and a change, you're hoping that one of those guys, at least the Steve Alford era, went 6 years and then he left because somebody else, picked him up. You're hoping for some longevity in there, and it has been a while. If you look at the last 2 long-tenured coaches at UNM, it was the Dave Bliss 90s and the Steve Alford of about a decade, what was now more than a decade ago. He was 2013 season. So we're looking at a decade ago is when Steve Alford did 6 years and somebody else grabbed him. He didn't get fired. And then the Dave Bliss 90s.
505-246-0610. That's the phone number and sports animal text line. You can hit us up. And Dangerous Dan, what do we got in store here? Dangerous Dan, what's up, man?
Good morning, JJ. Hey, so Saturday I went really early to the donation spot, and I drove up, and there was nobody at the 610 canopy. And I'm looking around, I'm like, well, what's going on? And then I noticed that you were over interviewing Eddie Nunes under the KKOB canopy, so I got you some slack on that one, and then I tuned in. But, man, heck of an event. I saw Eddie running around moving cases of water, and everybody was just really active, a really positive, upbeat energy that morning. And I'm telling you, I know a lot of people up in that area that really, really, really appreciate what everybody did on Saturday.
Well, Dan, we appreciate that you came through as well, man. It means a lot.
Oh, yeah, man. I wouldn't have missed it, bro. I would not have missed it. I had a bunch of stuff that was not acceptable for the drive you guys were doing, so I found another outlet to take it to get it to them, which is all right. But, hey, man, so on the decaf thing, I'm a heart patient, so I cannot ingest caffeinated coffee, and I love coffee since I was a little kid. But if you guys have a Keurig in there, you better pull your decaf right off to the side and say, hey, bring in your own box of decaf pods and use the Keurig. Don't fill a whole pot, because that's just not cool. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. You gotta make your own cups if you're the only decaf drinker.
Dan, well, we appreciate you coming out on Saturday, helping us out with that fire relief drive. Much appreciated. And once again, thank you to everyone that stepped up with Cumulus and UNM Athletics that came through on Saturday, because there's still a lot of help that is needed for what's going on. We got Jeff Grammer in studio, A. Marie. JJ Buck, it is the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
For certified collision and body repair, visit the experts at CarCrafters. 5 locations in Albuquerque and Rio Rancho. Visit carcrafters.com.
CarCrafters, it's like it never happened.
The energy landscape is limitless and ever-changing. Cleaner energy resources are crucial to New Mexico's environment. For 100 years, PNM has utilized cutting-edge technology and employed hard-working New Mexicans to ensure that we have consistent, reliable energy when we need it. For life's loudest moments, quietest moments, and every moment in between. We're dedicated to providing you with energy now and into the future. All you have to do is dream of what to do with it next.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
For 50 years, Clark's Pet Emporium has been your pet's favorite stop. Fish, birds, cats, dogs, reptiles, and small animals. Clark's has built a tradition of friendly, knowledgeable service focused on affordable, quality pet care products and food. Locally owned and operated with 2 convenient locations for all your pet needs, including an extensive selection of gifts for both owners and pets. 11200 Manal Northeast or 4914 Lomas Northeast. Clark's Pet Emporium is celebrating 50 years. Thank you, Albuquerque, the Pet Supply Superstore. ClarksPets.com.
High school sports are back. You can watch every ProView Network broadcast online on the NFHS network. Every moment from every game from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProViewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch New Mexico's best.
Dream style stucco. Stucco is the way to go. The Southwest tradition, beautiful and durable. The perfect combination. Your favorite color, your favorite texture. You're gonna love it when they put it all together. Through any weather, nothing looks better. From the smooth to the rough, they really know their stuff. Nobody does stucco like Dream Style Stucco. For your business or your home, Valley Fence stands alone. We're number one in New Mexico for a reason. It's the best fence you can own. Proudly serving New Mexico for over 50 years.
The best show in for 5 years. It's the open ride. New Mexico Sport of the Year, and JJ Bach.
Well, that 3-time guy, he's at Conference USA meetings this week, listening to more athletic directors and coaches scream about, I don't know what to do. Who is they? Who's fixing this situation? Name, image, and likeness, it is blurry between that and pay for play because it's impossible to separate the two. If you're going to be handing out name, image, and likeness deals, you're going to have a collective run by businessmen and women and fans. Like, that's going to be out there. So when a recruit is visiting Campus X, they're going to look at what players at said campus are getting. So it's this whole system that is sweeping the nation. One thing you do know is there's teams that still have quote-unquote student athletes on them. There are schedules for next season, and they will be playing college athletics, football, basketball, all across the board because they're doing it right now instead of Olympic sports.
It is not dying. College basketball will still be here next year. College football will still be here next year and the year after and the year after. It is way too big of a business to fail. I don't want to go into past rhetoric of auto industry and banks and all the stuff that people said are too big to fail. College athletics is not going to fail because there is too much money in it. And at some point, I think what people need to realize that are making all the money right now is the only way this fails is if we continue to make it a system where we make all the money. Like, you have to share a little bit of it for it to keep going. College athletics is never going to fail.
I guess, too, and that's a really interesting question that Jeff Graham brings up. Jeff Graham, Albuquerque Journal. Amory, it's JJ Buck with you here on 95.9 FM, AM 610. The sports animal is, at what point don't the universities want to get involved? Because right now they can kind of keep an eye on it. They just really need to make sure that the dates align in terms of when things are signed to be, name, image, and likeness to participate in whatever promotion you're doing versus when you become a student athlete for said university. But right now with name, image, and likeness, if you're able to keep it on the outside, one, it's not the university's money that they're handing out to anyone. And two, it keeps them out of Title IX trouble for now, because once you roll it into the university and however you want to classify it, a salary cap, contracts, once they start handling that, well, then that has to go across the board.
Yeah, there's a pool of money, and you can say it goes into this account or it goes into that account. But once you're dabbling in the big bucket of money that has any federal, even one federal penny in it, then you're messing with federal laws and federal Title IX mandate, which says you're going to have to give equal opportunity, and some people would argue that the opportunity is dictated by the market, right? Like, if the market is saying this player is worth this much in NIL and this player is worth this much in NIL, that's the opportunity, and everybody has the opportunity. But the reality is, once the universities are doling out the money and putting the money out there, they have to see to it that everybody's getting equal. So the schools, no matter how much a Saban or all these coaches who, by the way, the ones making the most noise recently are the ones who for years have been making the most money. look, they don't want to get involved. If they get involved, they're not going to, if they get too far involved, I should say, they're not going to like the outcome of this, because then you do have federal mandates and federal protections that come into play that look, Nick Saban does not want. I will say this, though. The university should have some more, if not control, some more, like, let's all be open about this. Like, I think it's safe to say that a lot of coaches know what's going on with NIL. Otherwise, these collectives don't know what players they're supposed to be offering money to. At some point, is a player going to tell an NIL collective, hey, this coach just offered me a scholarship. If you guys give me this up front right now, then I'll come here. And then we find out that player was never even offered a scholarship. Maybe some of that happens, but the reality is these NILs aren't offering money to players who haven't already been offered a scholarship or aren't in the recruiting process. So there's some communication at some level between the collectives and the teams, and there should be. That's how this should work. I don't think it should be a deal breaker and a rule violation if there is some more communication between the schools and the coaches and the NIL collectives, who are kind of the ones doling out the money at this point. How much of that should be monitored? That's, I think, the question right now. The NCAA, maybe there needs to be a transparent, every email and text you guys send to each other needs to be reviewed by your compliance officer, which I know the Amy Beggins and Eric Schultz of
like,
the world at UNM
guys.
are like, quit adding stuff to our job. But the reality is the schools do have to have communication with these collectives. You can't just say we don't have anything to do with them. They need to have some. They need to have something to do with these NIL collectives. But it does need to stop at the decision-making level where they're the ones actually writing the checks to these players.
A lot of people out there, fan bases, they're still trying to wrap their mind around it, just as people in college athletics are. Is this pay to play? We've had people raise the question, should you take the scholarship away from the person then, and he has to pay his way for school, and then that frees up another scholarship? I don't think it's going to go that far. I do not think that's what universities want to then having to get into. But I'm interested, because I had this conversation with Jeff Symbieta. He's able to have, be in kind of other people's ears when he goes to his league meetings. You have great relationships with plenty of people with your access. Just kind of, what is the vibe you're getting? Is it just more like frustration of it's just another thing we have to deal with and kind of put up with, as opposed to something that they think is going to break the system?
I think that if you look at through the years, the teams that continue in both football and college basketball to be at the top of the game, and it is the same group of teams for the most part in both sports. You haven't seen too many even new basketball teams break into the top 25, or maybe the top 10 is a better kind of top 10 or 15 is a better number to look at. And with football, I mean, the numbers bear out the same top 15 or so teams are pretty much there all the time, right? So the reason for that is they're the ones on the cutting edge of figuring out how to deal with the new set of rules, or how to deal with the new evolution of AAU basketball, or how to deal with the new evolution of these football camps that maybe 20 years ago weren't as prevalent as they are now. The only way you can recruit high school players at this point now is you go to these camps and see all their measurables. It's like combines. We talk about the NFL combine and the NBA combine. That's happening now at the well, in football anyway, it's happening at the high school level. At the high school basketball level, it's not so much the combines, it's just the AAU circuit, and maybe they'll move to more of an NBA combine kind of mold or model at the high school level eventually. But my point being, the teams that are kind of killing it every single year are the teams that are at the cutting edge of recruiting and figuring it out. These teams will figure out how to best to handle NIL, no matter how grumpy their head coach is, no matter how grumpy the old man at the top might be about all this. They will find an assistant who will figure it out, will just kill the game at the NIL game, and then be the next head coach. That's how evolution of the sports coaching world goes. I did want to bring up one thing. You mentioned that some people are kind of clamoring for hold these kids to their, if they have a one-year scholarship, then they need to honor that for a year at least for the NIL money. The people making the most noise about the kids and the student athletes having to honor their contracts never have the same complaints about honoring contracts when it comes to coaches. And if you want to talk about honoring contracts, yeah, maybe there's a buyout clause that never ends up being the number in the contract. Like, if you want to talk about honoring contracts, there are a lot of contracts in college athletics, and it all has to do with the coaches right now. Very few of them ever get honored.
And also, it's the reality of it is if these student athletes want to take a step in this direction, then they are getting into the big business side. And you're going to have to put your big boy and or girl pants on and understand that there's going to be the star player that might get a deal. There's going to be a player that you might not think should get a deal that has one. And then that's on the players too. If student athletes want these opportunities, which I am for, like, it makes sense.
Yep.
I get how the system can get out of control. Like, when you look at name, image, and likeness, it actually seems pretty simple. It's like, oh, you have a star athlete on your campus. Let him do some commercials. Let him do some stuff for your company and or business and make some money. It seems so simple. But then the trickle-down effect is then you see, oh, well, is this pay for play? You can't then separate that from recruiting because someone's out there doing a commercial, but then you get this collective involved. And so we get to this point. But if student athletes want these opportunities, then you got to handle it. You got to understand there's different pressures that come along. Like, you're still a college kid. You're still making decisions that you'll learn. So maybe the transfer wasn't the best one, or maybe it was the right thing for you to transfer at that moment in time. But you're taking on some added pressure, and you got to understand that you already do take a lot of heat from fan bases. Now, if you're the player that it gets out there that you have the biggest NIL deal, things are going to be a little bit different for you.
And I don't know that that's a whole lot different than it is right now, where you already know who the star player is. They're already getting the most grief on social media. They're already getting the most pressure on social media. I'll add this. I just, at every turn, the NCAA has fought player rights kind of movements, from Title IX that they fought in courts all the way to now. They fought it at every turn, and now they're kind of and what they've done a really good job at is creating these narratives. The transfer portal was going to kill college athletics, and we realized it didn't kill college athletics. Now the NIL is going to kill college athletics, and even before that, it was like these stipends that kids were getting was going to kill it. Like, some schools just weren't going to be able to afford it. Nothing's going to kill college athletics. It's going to survive. It'll make their jobs harder, and I'm totally aware of that. There are administrators at UNM whose jobs are harder because of all this stuff. It's not going to kill the sport, though. And we kind of got to quit jumping on this bandwagon of when the NCAA says, creating these kind of like these paper arguments that never really come to fruition of, that dynamic in the locker room is going to be, I don't know how they're going to handle it when one player is getting paid more than the other. What are you talking about? There's already dynamics like that in every locker room. One player plays more than the other, and a kid doesn't like it, he transfers. That's already happening. One kid already has more money than the other kid because that's life. Some kids come in rich and have a nice car, and maybe it wasn't anything illegal about it. I'm not even suggesting that. Like, those dynamics happen. And if you're preparing them for the real world, guess what? You're going to go into a real world, and if it is sports, the quarterback's going to get paid more on your NFL team than the quarterback gets paid, or than the long snapper is going to get paid. And there's going to be that dynamic they have to deal with in the locker room too, just like the workplace. I don't think that argument is worth like saying, okay, the players really shouldn't be making any money now because it might make them not like each other in the locker room. Guess what? The kids will figure it out. They'll handle it a lot better than the grown-ups in the room.
Trust me, one of us drives to work in a Mercedes, and Marie, the other shows up in a Super Forester. We know the differences around here.
That's right.
And you just got to deal with it. You got to show up to work and do your job.
I thought that was a joke until I parked next to it today, and I scratched her car on the way in, by the way. My 19.
Some of us are making the big bucks.
Yeah,
Some people drink the decaf coffee, others bring in the Starbucks.
There we go.
That's Jeff Grammer, Albuquerque Journal. Amory, JJ Buck. It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Aaron Jones owns International Protection.
I'd like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
High school sports are back. You can watch every ProView Network broadcast online on the NFHS network. Every moment from every game from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProViewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch New Mexico's best.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
For certified collision and body repair, visit the experts at CarCrafters. 5 locations in Albuquerque and Rio Rancho. Visit carcrafters.com.
CarCrafters, it's like it never happened.
The energy landscape is limitless and ever-changing. Cleaner energy resources are crucial to New Mexico's environment. For 100 years, PNM has utilized cutting-edge technology and employed hard-working New Mexicans to ensure that we have consistent, reliable energy when we need it. For life's loudest moments, quietest moments, and every moment in between. We're dedicated to providing you with energy now and into the future. All you have to do is dream of what to do with it next.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
For 50 years, Clark's Pet Emporium has been your pet's favorite stop. Fish, birds, cats, dogs, reptiles, and small animals. Clark's has built a tradition of friendly, knowledgeable service focused on affordable, quality pet care products and food. Locally owned and operated with 2 convenient locations for all your pet needs, including an extensive selection of gifts for both owners and pets. 11200 Manal Northeast or 4914 Lomas Northeast. Clark's Pet Emporium is celebrating 50 years. Thank you, Albuquerque, the Pet Supply Superstore. ClarksPets.com.
Dreamstyle Stucco. Stucco is the way to go. A Southwest tradition, beautiful and durable. The perfect combination. Your favorite color, your favorite texture. You're gonna love it when they put it all together. Through any weather, nothing looks better. From the smooth to the rough, they really know their stuff. Nobody does stucco like Dreamstyle Stucco. For your business or your home, Valley Fence stands alone. We're number 1 in New Mexico for a reason. It's the best fence you can own.
It's OTA season as well. And everyone is going to talk about who's not showing up to organized team activities.
Don't do this to me.
OTAs. Kyler Murray's not there. How dare he? Oh, this veteran player's not showing up. Unbelievable. And you're also going to get, oh, this player is in the best shape of his life. New England Patriots quarterback Mac Jones.
Oh, my gosh.
Off-season conditioning evident to his teammates. Quote, he's in the best shape of his life, end quote.
Cool.
He was, you know, Mac Jones has got his team dad bod. It's very Brady-esque early on. Combine photo is not flattering. How do we all feel about Mac Jones? It's the opening drive here on 95.9
This is where we're going.
AM 610, the sports animal. Because you look at the New England Patriots, and if Bill Belichick wasn't their head coach, there's no way this team's good. It shocked me a little bit when you had that refresher, you got a lot going on. And coming off the NFL draft, OTAs, I'm like, oh yeah, this was a 10-win football team last year. They were the 6th seed in the AFC. I don't see it with New England Patriots. If Bill Belichick wasn't their head coach, people would be destroying this roster. They have done nothing to upgrade this team around Mac Jones, who right now, what are we thinking Mac Jones can be? Are we thinking kind of, well, where are we starting the ceiling? Is he Kirk Cousins-esque? Is he kind of one of those middle-of-the-road guys that might have some more pop? I get it. He went to the playoffs last year. But this team, they traded Shaq Mason, one of their best guards. I'm trying to look around and say, all right, who's the talent they put around him? Because I'm looking, and I love the Miami Dolphins offseason. Jalen Waddle's legit. Tyreek Hill, we've seen what he's done. They're one of those teams that signed a lot of those veteran players around the edges, but then you're also looking at Mike McDaniel's first-year head coach.
Oh boy, genius.
Life can come at you fast.
Yes.
And so as we hit OTA season, as we hit this person is in the best shape ever, this person looks fantastic, who are we going to trust? What are we going to believe?
People aren't showing up because they want to get paid.
Yeah, when you mentioned OTAs and people not showing up, I thought we were going to go down the Deebo Samuel route, which is fine if we don't.
Deebo.
I love me some Deebo, and as a 49er fan, I wish it would all just go away and he would just come back and do his thing. I do think the best system he fits in is what Shanahan runs with him. But as far as Mac Jones goes, like, best shape in his life doesn't mean a whole lot to me. I mean, he's been in the NFL 1 year. Like, he's been in systems.
Not Lamar Jackson over here.
Yeah, I don't need the guy to I mean, the longest I've ever seen the guy move on at all was that walk he had. Well, no, that walk he had on draft night when they showed him walking from the green room, and it was like it seemed like he had to walk a mile. It was like the longest walk ever, and he was a little winded by the time he got up there. So I know the guy can't run. Like, I know he's not in the best shape. I don't care. Look, the Patriots are going to be fine because
sometimes Bill doesn't need that.
Right, like he's a
serviceable quarterback.
He's not asking.
Listen to him.
He's not asking his quarterback to do more than go backwards. Either 8 steps, 7 steps, whatever, and then throw the ball
or hand off the ball.
So like he's not asking his quarterback to do a whole lot of running anyway. So look, this time of year is again, and I'll equate it to my world of college basketball. Like, everybody has a great spring, and this summer they're all going to be so good, and they're jumping out of the gym and they hit the weight room really hard. This is, if the teams were half as good as every OTA season, their fan bases and their local media and their coaching staff say they are, then there'd be a whole lot of really, really good NFL teams next year. It's going to be the same as it is every year. Some teams are going to be good, some teams aren't. But like, don't buy into the how good are they looking in OTA season. It's just it doesn't. Nobody's ever won a Super Bowl on OTAs.
Jones is a great quarterback. Get over it. That was a great spiral. Here's the thing: look out for with the New England Patriots. Is this going to look like a high school football coaching staff? I think Bill Belichick is going to be calling offensive plays, is going to be calling defensive plays. He's going to be running the special teams because at this point, Belichick hasn't named a coordinator or play caller for his offense, and so Mac Jones said, quote, on Belichick spending more time with the offense. Obviously, he's a great defensive mind, but he also has great offensive knowledge. This is going to be the Bill Belichick, get out my way, put everyone's headset on mute, and just listen to me.
I'll say this, and as a Bronco fan, I'm interested to hear how your take on this, but like Josh McDaniels, like actually was a huge part of, I think, Bill Belichick's success through the years. There's a reason he is considered what he is considered by a lot of people around the league. He didn't just kind of stumble into a couple of head coaching jobs now. What he does is a pretty big part of what they do, and good for Belichick for surrounding himself with people like that. I do think Josh McDaniels is. Look, he failed at Denver. I get it, but like, I think he was a big part of their offense. He made Mac Jones look pretty competent last year, and we'll see. His absence, we'll see how good Bill Belichick is at this point of his coaching career without the coordinators that run the show.
505-246-0610. That is the phone number. That's also the text line to get in. Josh McDaniels in the AFC West. There's a former teammate of Russell Wilson's that doesn't think the Broncos going to be that good next season. Maybe not a bad football team, but it's a stacked division. It is the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Proudly serving New Mexico for over 50 years. At Valley Fence, the difference is clear. No fence too big, too small, or difficult. We handle them all at Valley Fence Company.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
High school sports are back. You can watch every ProView Network broadcast online on the NFHS network. Every moment from every game from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProViewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch New Mexico's best.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
For certified collision and body repair, visit the experts at CarCrafters. 5 locations in Albuquerque and Rio Rancho. Visit carcrafters.com.
CarCrafters, it's like it never happened.
The energy landscape is limitless and ever-changing. Cleaner energy resources are crucial to New Mexico's environment. For 100 years, PNM has utilized cutting-edge technology and employed hard-working New Mexicans to ensure that we have consistent, reliable energy when we need it. For life's loudest moments, quietest moments, and every moment in between. We're dedicated to providing you with energy now and into the future. All you have to do is dream of what to do with it next.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
For 50 years, Clark's Pet Emporium has been your pet's favorite stop. Fish, birds, cats, dogs, reptiles, and small animals. Clark's has built a tradition of friendly, knowledgeable service focused on affordable, quality pet care products and food. Locally owned and operated with 2 convenient locations for all your pet needs, including an extensive selection of gifts for both owners and pets. 11200 Manal Northeast or 4914 Lomas Northeast. Clark's Pet Emporium is celebrating 50 years. Thank you, Albuquerque, the pet supply superstore. ClarksPets.com.
Dream style stucco. Stucco is the way to go. A Southwest tradition, beautiful and durable. The perfect combination. Your favorite color, your favorite texture. You're gonna love it when they put it all together. Through any weather, nothing looks better. From the smooth to the rough, they really know their stuff. Nobody does stucco like Dream Style Stucco.
For your business or your home, Valley Fence stands alone. We're number 1 in New Mexico for a reason. It's the best fence you can own. Proudly serving New Mexico for over 50 years. At Valley Fence, the difference is clear. No fence too big, too small, or difficult. We handle them all at Valley Fence Company.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Highs.
The AFC North or AFC West? Which will be the best division? There's 8 teams. You can make a legitimate case. We're not talking just a playoff team, but a conference championship level football team, one step away from the Super Bowl. It's opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal. A. Marie, JJ Buck, Jeff Greimer, Albuquerque Journal, joining us today. And you mentioned Josh McDaniels, which is going to be a big hit for the New England Patriots, but Bill Belichick is going to do absolutely everything. And calling offensive plays, defensive plays, special teams. Josh McDaniels is a guy that just because if you go back, man, what's this, like 10 years now? How long? It's been a minute since he was the head coach of the Denver Broncos. Yep. It was bad. I believe he learned from that because he is a good offensive mind, but there's also that huge question mark away from Bill Belichick. Who's done it away from Bill Belichick?
So far, I think the answer is nobody, right? Is there?
No one has won at a high level away from Bill Belichick. There's been guys that have kind of been on the path. I thought Brian Flores was on that path until Miami was like, no thank you. I know you've beat the Patriots a couple times. I know your team actually won 7 games in a row to be competitive. We want the young, flashy offensive guy. So there is still that hanging over Josh McDaniels, but he goes into a system in Vegas where you got a solid quarterback in Derek Carr. He's got his BFF in Devontae Adams, Darren Waller. I think that's going to be good because in Denver, you can say, all right, they have the better quarterback in Russell Wilson. They themselves have a first-time head coach, Nathaniel Hackett, coming over. You have the tried and true Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes combination. And then everyone loves Justin Herbert. I get it. I'm one of those dudes. They were a 9-8 football team last year. And they were a tie away from going to the postseason, but they still have a lot to prove even with the hotshot quarterback and a head coach. 505-246-0610. Edward, good morning, sir. What's up? How you doing?
Tyler Hero. There's still time to be my hero. I'll elaborate on that in a sec, but
You know, JJ, good morning. I turned on KOAT television last night, and I see this handsome and debonair, articulate man on there, not only representing the sports animal, but the greater area and the community. So the multifaceted JJ Buck, very well done, my friend. I'm thoroughly impressed.
Thank you.
So nice job on the news last night. Mike Vrabel, 3-time Super Bowl champion.
There you go.
Caught touchdown passes in 2 Super Bowls.
He's pretty good.
He's done pretty well.
Yeah.
He's gone to 2 AFC title games, and he came from the Belichick tree. You know, the Eastern Conference Finals in basketball, I'm miffed. You know, last night the Heat came out and went 3 for 24 in the first quarter. 3 for 24. I think I could have hit J.J. Buck on the wing, and he could have gone 5 for 18, you know. But I don't know what's going to happen in that series. But like we reiterated last week, there's no superstars on the floor when those two teams play. There's good players, but there's no superstars. Because a superstar would show up every night, win or lose. We know what's going to happen in the West, and, you know, Golden State continues to roll. And Luka Doncic, when 3 guys collapse on him and he kicks out and guys are missing wide open threes, then you got no shot. When you're on a shooting scholarship at the NBA like all those tall Euros and you continually miss wide open 3 after wide open 3, it reminds me of early LeBron with the Cavs when 4 guys would collapse on LeBron and he'd kick it out and nobody could hit a jumper. So it was a good run, and maybe they'll win a game, but that series is over. Speaking about Burrows, I got the bat signal. I didn't know you were talking Patriots. I did a quick count real quick on AFC quarterbacks. And here's who I would take. I think the Patriots have the 9th or 10th best quarterback in the AFC. Mahomes, Allen, Jackson, Wilson, the Bengals quarterback, Burrow, Herbert, Watson, and Carr. I would take every one of those guys over our current quarterback, which, by the way, he did a good job last year, 10 wins. I think the biggest gap for our quarterback is there's a difference between throwing to open guys and throwing guys open in the NFL, and I think he needs to learn that. I'm no quarterback expert, but I would take those 8 guys over him. And by the way, Cowboy fans, I would take all those guys over Dak Prescott as well at this point. So I wanted to share that with you.
You wanted to make sure you got that in there.
I had to get it in there, right? Because people call in and say they're the most complete franchise. Well, if hanging television ratings makes you the most complete franchise, then hang your television rating banners, because that's been what they've hung their hat on the past couple of years. And franchise net worth, those 2 things. Anyway, enjoy the show. Mr. Grammer, I always thoroughly enjoy your content, and thank you for letting me share my thoughts.
Appreciate the phone call. Edward, I think we're all probably on the same page when you look at the quarterbacks in the AFC, and that's a question. There's good quarterbacks in that league, but the difference between good and someone that can touch on being great is the playmaking ability, is being able to make plays outside of a system. And Mac Jones feels very Tom Brady-esque in terms of you're trying to set everything up. But Brady was a master at the line of scrimmage. He was one of those guys in total control. And we'll see. Mac Jones could be good, but at some point in time, the Patriots got to find some playmakers in this franchise. 10-7, they keep good defense. They're going to run the football. But your young quarterback's not going to develop if you don't ever invest in skill position players. That is the one thing the Patriots have really struggled at. As good as Bill Belichick is, that franchise has not been able to develop wide receivers. They hit on tight ends. The Rob Gronkowski, Aaron Hernandez era, pretty good. And then found out Aaron Hernandez was something else. Outside of that, nope, they don't develop them. And they haven't. Who's the last marquee acquisition? Julian Edelman. All right, we'll give you Julian Edelman. He developed into a good playmaker.
Developed into.
Yeah.
So good acquisition.
Yeah. They acquired Wes Welker at the time. But you have to go back to Randy Moss was the last big time skill position player that they brought in, and Tom Brady almost had an undefeated season with that team.
And they have, they swung at a few. Josh Gordon they brought in and stuff like that. It's not that
Antonio
they didn't,
Brown.
Right. It's not like they didn't take a few chances on some guys. It's just, you're right. The skill positions for the Patriots, they have a rotating in the fantasy football world. You know this with the Patriots is like you can't pick one running back. If you could pick the New England Patriot running back as opposed to like a specific, if you could, as opposed to a specific one, like he just has a different running back kind of star every week. You never know which one it is, from week to week. But yeah, I mean, skill position seems to be why the Patriots the last few years maybe aren't what they were. Some would argue that is all about Tom Brady's not there anymore. But
pretty good.
Tom Brady's not bad, I guess. I'm still reluctant. The Joe Montana fan in me still is reluctant to ever say that. But it is what it is. The Patriots, they need some help. Like Mac can be as safe a quarterback as ever. Safe quarterbacks tend to not have skill position players.
Yeah. Safe quarterbacks get you, you got 10 wins and you lose in first round of the playoffs. But so as we kind of morph this conversation from Belichick over to Josh McDaniels, we're talking about the AFC West. And so former Seahawks linebacker KJ Wright, who spent 9 seasons playing with Russell Westbrook in Seattle, isn't sold on the Denver Broncos. He said, quote, "You look at it from a holistic standpoint. You got to look outside of the quarterback. What's on the other side of the ball? What's on defense? I believe the Broncos have some pieces, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to slow down these weapons in the division. It's going to be tight, but only 3 teams are going to make it." So KJ Wright, not saying the Broncos are going to be bad, but he thinks that roster is a little bit overrated, and maybe it's not as good defensively right now as it was, say, a year or 2 ago when everyone was saying Denver was just a quarterback away. But guess what? They got a quarterback that is going to absolutely make up from some of the deficiencies of maybe them not having the Von Miller-esque defense, which they haven't had since Super Bowl. But in terms of, all right, maybe they went from a really good defense to just a good defense. Well, Russell Wilson's going to cover up those holes in that division because there's going to be some shootouts. The AFC West, yeah, you're going to have to play defense, but that division is going to make your defense look bad some days. Really bad. Andy Reid, Mahomes ain't slowing down, even without Tyreek Hill.
Yep.
They're scheming up something. Justin Herbert's going to make plays downfield. Derek Carr puts up the numbers. And now you got Russell Wilson in Denver.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the best division, right?
AFC in general is just going to be tough this year.
It comes down to, I think, in that case, Joe Burrow or Derek Carr.
That AFC North is tough, too.
And a lot of people are going to be leaning Joe Burrow. And then if you just, we look past the suspension, say Deshaun Watson's the quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. It's the AFC West because the uncertainty is Pittsburgh.
Right.
We're talking Mitch Trubisky, Kenny Pickett. That's a team that can go 10-7.
AFC teams in general, though, are going to dominate, not just their divisions. Yeah. So,
I mean, the Chargers are going to be pretty good this year, though.
Yeah, if they're
I think
they can burn 4th down.
Freaking coach.
You got to stay aggressive. You got to do what you believe in. Be aggressive. It is the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Sharing sides is good. Getting enough so you don't.
School sports are back. You can watch every ProView Network broadcast online on the NFHS network. Every moment from every game from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProViewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch New Mexico's best. High school sports are back. You can watch every ProView Network broadcast online on the NFHS network. Every moment from every game from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProViewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch New Mexico's best.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
For certified collision and body repair, visit the experts at CarCrafters. 5 locations in Albuquerque and Rio Rancho. Visit carcrafters.com.
CarCrafters, it's like it never happened.
The energy landscape is limitless and ever-changing. Cleaner energy resources are crucial to New Mexico's environment. For 100 years, PNM has utilized cutting-edge technology and employed hard-working New Mexicans to ensure that we have consistent, reliable energy when we need it. For life's loudest moments, quietest moments, and every moment in between. We're dedicated to providing you with energy now and into the future. All you have to do is dream of what to do with it next.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
For 50 years, Clark's Pet Emporium has been your pet's favorite stop. Fish, birds, cats, dogs, reptiles, and small animals. Clark's has built a tradition of friendly, knowledgeable service focused on affordable, quality pet care products and food. Locally owned and operated with 2 convenient locations for all your pet needs, including an extensive selection of gifts for both owners and pets. 11200 Manal Northeast or 4914 Lomas Northeast. Clark's Pet Emporium is celebrating 50 years. Thank you, Albuquerque, the Pet Supply Superstore. ClarksPets.com.
Dream style stucco. Stucco is the way to go. The Southwest tradition, beautiful and durable. The perfect combination. Your favorite color, your favorite texture. You're gonna love it when they put it all together. Through any weather, nothing looks better. From the smooth to the rough, they really know their stuff. Nobody does stucco like Dream style stucco.
For your business or your home, Valley Fence stands alone. We're #1 in New Mexico for a reason. It's the best fence you can own. Proudly serving New Mexico for over 50 years. At Valley Fence, the difference is clear. No fence too big, too small, or difficult. We handle them all at Valley Fence Company.
The Sports Animal.
So as we sit here, conference finals, not great for the NBA. Eastern Conference Finals is flip a coin who's going to be great one night. That's what you're getting between Boston and Miami. Last night it was the Boston Celtics and Jason Tatum putting it on Jimmy Butler, who I'm wavering a bit. It's tough. I've been pretty steadfast. I believe Jimmy Butler is a superstar. I think he's the best two-way player in the game. But he had 6 points last night. And I think superstars can lose games. It's evident. Look at Luka Doncic. I think Nikola Jokic is in that conversation. People wanted to slam Jokic, but yet say how awesome Golden State is. Luka and Jokic are not beating them by themselves. But when you look at Jimmy Butler, Jason Tatum, it's the inconsistency. I think Jimmy Butler's been a very consistent player, but you're looking at a very inconsistent series, and this is a really awkward time for the NBA because they should be hitting a home run right now. The casuals tuning in, conference finals. We'll see what you got. You don't have to watch fourth quarter. You have to watch the first quarter of these games, as Jeff Grammer pointed out, and that will tell you what's going on. You're not getting big-time moments. You're not getting memorable moments, but here we are. And it's also a postseason without LeBron James.
See what happens?
Look at what happens when LeBron James isn't there. You got a 3-0 series in the West. You got these teams blowing each other out in the Eastern Conference. But that's why I think this is a positive for the NBA. I'm not one that says, oh, I'm sick of LeBron James. You need him out of it. I know he's part of the drama. He's part of the storyline of the NBA. And as long as he can still play at a high level, that's someone I want to see on the basketball court. But to get to this point, to see the number of stars, really good players in the league, to see the number of really good teams, I think it's been good for the league. But the conference finals haven't been good from an entertainment and or fan standpoint. But I say all that to then look forward to a team that's trying to get back there, and that is the Los Angeles Lakers. Over the weekend, ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reported that the Lakers are zeroing in on Bucks assistant coach Darvin Ham, former Portland Trailblazers and Jeff Grammer's favorite team, head coach Terry Stotts, and Warriors assistant coach Kenny Atkinson as their candidates that advance to the final round of interviews. And this is just one of those things you look at and go, that wasn't the problem. And then there's stories that maybe the Lakers want Doc Rivers to become available. Like, coaching is not the problem with the Lakers. It's the roster. It will be the Bill Jackson. It's what they're playing with. It's saddled with the Russell Westbrook contract. It's a fact that you're interviewing coaches, and one of the biggest questions you're asking them is, hey, what are you doing with Russell Westbrook? It's not Frank Vogel. It's not Doc Rivers coming in and fixing that. It is the roster. How healthy is Anthony Davis going to be? These guys can't answer that question.
Right.
As it doesn't matter what Russell Westbrook does. If you have a healthy Anthony Davis and LeBron James, that's a competitive basketball team, even if there's warts all over the place, because you're tapped out on assets. You don't have any shooters on that roster. So whoever gets that job, it's a head coaching position. You're coaching the Lakers. But it comes down to what you're getting out of Anthony Davis and LeBron James, not what you're doing with Russell Westbrook.
Westbrook, I think, is absolutely the key to the Lakers' future. And it's not because I think he's going to help them. It's either you get rid of him or they're not going to win another one anytime he's there. So, yeah, I think actually absolutely Russell Westbrook is the key to the Lakers' future. And LeBron doesn't like having, things out of his control or having a scenario where you can't just keep adding pieces to put him in contention until you get rid of Westbrook, who he was all for bringing in, obviously. It was one of the rare – I shouldn't say that. I mean, if I think about it, I'm sure I can come up with some other ones. But it was one of the rare kind of swing and misses that LeBron, who people give a really hard time for trying to be GM everywhere he goes, it's one of the rare times that, like, he brought somebody in that not only maybe didn't pan out, but like he actually hurt the Lakers, and what Westbrook became on that team really hurt the Lakers. So I think it's one of the few times that LeBron brought somebody in as his unofficial GM capacity, and it just really hurt the team. And at this point, you got to get rid of Westbrook to have a chance for the Lakers to have a chance again.
And if you're Los Angeles, you're almost in a position where it's just straight salary dump. Yeah. But who's acquiring that amount of money? Is there a team, let's say, Orlando Magic, the Houston Rockets, that are just so tapped out in terms of salaries they need something to hit the salary cap floor, so they take on something like that? You're not getting anything back for Russ Westbrook at this point in time. And so when you look at the stories of who the final candidates are going to be for the Los Angeles Lakers, Terry Stotts, he's a veteran guy. Should it be Darvin Ham? We saw Kenny Atkinson with the Nets before they got Kyrie and Kevin Durant make them competitive. No, it's all about the roster. And you're right. It's a Russell Westbrook figuring out, does he become the sixth man of the year? Is he going to sit down? Is he going to accept that role? At what point do you say, get over it, Russ, you're not good? You can't. And so, yeah, it's Russell Westbrook. What do you do with him? And just the health. Because Anthony Davis, a healthy Anthony Davis and LeBron James, they don't miss the playoffs. Are they a championship favorite? Probably not. But this is the most, to your point, disappointing season of LeBron James' career because they couldn't even make the play-in tournament.
Yeah.
What was it? 56 games LeBron played.
The play-in
They
tournament.
just needed to win like 36, not like 36 of those games, and they could have been at least a playing team, and they didn't even do that.
Yeah, this is about to be on the brink of like kind of defining the end of the LeBron era. Maybe people thought it was coming sooner than this, but yeah, we're at that point now where he doesn't want to go out like this. So I'd be shocked if Russell Westbrook and LeBron James coexist for much longer.
It is the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the sports animal. Amory, that's Jeff Grammer, Albuquerque Journal, JJ Buck with you. Also catch us on ProView Networks. Rolling along, coming up 9:30. Josh Sushan, voice of the Albuquerque Isotopes, is going to join us. ABS for the first time in Albuquerque. What does that mean for you, the fan? Talk about it here on the opening drive.
I'd like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
High school sports are back. You can watch every ProView Network broadcast online on the NFHS network. Every moment from every game from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProViewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch New Mexico's best.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
High school sports are back. You can watch every ProView Network broadcast online on the NFHS network. Every moment from every game from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProViewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch New Mexico's best.
For certified collision and body repair, visit the experts at CarCrafters. 5 locations in Albuquerque and Rio Rancho. Visit carcrafters.com.
CarCrafters, it's like it never happened.
The energy landscape is limitless and ever-changing. Cleaner energy resources are crucial to New Mexico's environment. For 100 years, PNM has utilized cutting-edge technology and employed hard-working New Mexicans to ensure that we have consistent, reliable energy when we need it. For life's loudest moments, quietest moments, and every moment in between. We're dedicated to providing you with energy now and into the future. All you have to do is dream of what to do with it next.
Industries is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
For 50 years, Clark's Pet Emporium has been your pet's favorite stop. Fish, birds, cats, dogs, reptiles, and small animals. Clark's has built a tradition of friendly, knowledgeable service focused on affordable, quality pet care products and food. Locally owned and operated with 2 convenient locations for all your pet needs, including an extensive selection of gifts for both owners and pets. 11200 Manal Northeast or 4914 Lomas Northeast. Clark's Pet Emporium is celebrating 50 years. Thank you, Albuquerque, the pet supply superstore. ClarksPets.com.
Dream style stucco. Stucco is the way to go. The Southwest tradition, beautiful and durable. The perfect combination. Your favorite color, your favorite texture. You're gonna love it when they put it all together. Through any weather, nothing looks better. From the smooth to the rough, they really know their stuff. Nobody does stucco like Dream style stucco.
If they're not that proud of us.
7 o'clock in the morning. 7 a.m. where have you been? 7 a.m. where is your brother?
Now, voted the best sports show in New Mexico for 5 years running. This is the opening drive with 3-time New Mexico Sportscaster of the Year, Jeff Symbieta and JJ Bach.
So what do you do when there's a blowout? People get a little antsy. Some people, of course, you watch something else. You flip over, there's the end of a good hockey game. You want to see what's up on MLB Network. You want to catch up on Better Call Saul.
You don't bet spreads.
Winning time. You realize, oh, that was a bad bet. Dang it. Maybe
I'm not even touching this series, by the way.
Second half and or fourth quarter lines.
I will not.
That's entirely possible.
Oh, yeah. That's true. I should just do the first quarter.
Start betting quarters, which might help you in the Eastern Conference Finals. How do you handle that, Mr.
Money
Grammer?
line with the Mavs and
I haven't
Warriors?
touched any NBA game these whole playoffs, but could you imagine being that guy right now who is, all right, that was a blowout. I'm going to ride this Miami Heat thing another game. And then, like, just being on the opposite end, how this game has gone back and forth every game and has been an ugly blowout each time. If you're the guy on the wrong side of that each time and you've been alternating your bets, like, you're a miserable person right now. You're the guy who's, like, having decaf in the wrong pot kind of issues right now. Like, you're just a miserable person today.
I like this decaf callback all show.
Yeah, I'll reset that. For those that are wondering, what are you talking about? Decaf and caffeinated. But a little behind the scenes. Welcome into the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal. That's Jeff Grammer, Albuquerque Journal, Amory, JJ Buck with you. Also catch us on ProView Networks. What's up, Adrian? Great job as always. So last night, I got invited, Channel 7, KOAT Sports. They did an hour special because the game was on ABC. 9 to 10, post-game. Going to break down what we just saw between Boston and Miami. Maybe look at the Western Conference Finals. And so they invited me in, which I really appreciate, and, of course, Kenny Thomas. But we were sitting there in the second half, and Ron Burke, Bethany Miller, the pros that they are, they're kind of sitting there going, what are we going to do? Like, no one's going to be watching this game. It's a blowout. We're going to have to fill, or we're going to have to pivot to something else. I'm like, guys, I fill nonsense 3 hours a day. We'll be good. Don't you worry. Just toss me some questions. We'll knock it out of the park. But it gets to the point you're in the second half, and someone asked, I forget who it was, but we were sitting there watching the second half, and it was like, oh, could you score in garbage time in an NBA game? My first response was, heck no. Absolutely not. And so that's what we were doing in the second half last night, prepping for an hour of television, but also going, oh, could you score in garbage time if you're out there on the floor? And my immediate response was like, no. And they're like, oh, that's really honest. I'm like, yes, I'm a rec league level athlete. I'm an all-pro flag football safety. I'm not getting paid to even sit on the bench of an NBA game. Can you imagine that speed that's coming at you?
So everyone thinks in terms of could you score in garbage time, they're like, I know I could hit an open shot eventually. Like
nothing's open.
Yeah, okay. Even if you were, like, you really think that you're going to be able to do a catch and shoot three, that they're not going to close out on you and scare you, and you're going to hit that one open shot because you're not going to get to shoot 8 times.
Amory could because she's got a light up trophy.
I don't know if you know this, Grammar, but I do.
She was an all-state basketball player at El Dorado.
In 2005, I I was on the losing team. I got MVP, had a triple-double.
Triple-double?
Yeah, I hit a lot of threes that game.
Nice.
Or
Anne-Marie could score
I
in
still
garbage
need to find that trophy.
You need to find that light-up trophy.
I'm gonna find it today when I drop off my nephew. I'm gonna find
talking
it.
about it. We haven't seen it yet.
I hope it still lights up after a million years.
But
if not, you'll light it up, just like you did on the court.
Yes, there you go.
But it's one of those conversations that you're filling time. Like, could you score in garbage? Absolutely not. The speed, the length. Like, maybe if I got lucky and hit a half-court shot, like no one was guarding me on the inbound, I just throw it up.
And every sport has those sort of like, oh, I could, with that opening or that line, with that offensive line, I could get 3 yards on the carry, or I could score at the goal line if you just hand me the ball.
Oh, my
No,
gosh.
you couldn't.
No, you couldn't.
There's one of those in every sport. Like, no, like I could be 7 yards back like a running back, and it would take me like 3 or 4 seconds to get to the line.
Like, they'd hit me as I got the handoff.
I'd fumble when they looked at me funny. Like, I mean, there's no chance. There's that in the NFL.
There's somebody out there I know are listening that are former high-level athletes.
Yep.
That we got you. We believe in you. Me, I'm not one of those talking heads that is like, yeah, put me in at garbage time. I'm going to hit that shot. But it was just funny, killing time in the second half, getting ready. What are we going to do on TV for an hour? Like, don't worry. Like, it'll be all right. But you have those questions like, could you do this? Could you do that? Absolutely not. Like, think of the wingspan of some of these dudes. Like, you get the ball.
The athleticism.
How quickly these guys pull the trigger on a shot. You catch it in the corner, you set, you look up, there's an 8'10" dude in your face.
They're
knocking that basketball into the third deck and putting you into the
athletic
seventh row.
man-children freaks. Like, no, I don't think people understand.
But that was filling time in the second half last night. Could you score in garbage time? Absolutely not.
Well, what did Kenny Thomas say?
Well, once Kenny Thomas got to the station, we're like, yes, this guy can.
Okay, I was like, well, what did Kenny say?
We know Kenny Thomas can score. The rest of us, absolutely not. 505-246-0610. That is the phone number. Also, the text line. You can send in your thoughts. Terry, you're on the opening drive. What's up, Terry?
Good morning, JJ. Good morning, A-Marie. I guess good morning, Jeff, part 2, or part 2, or
I like
Dylan, Jeff.
I like it.
Yeah, you're awesome. Yeah. So congrats, JJ, on last night. You did a wonderful job. I thought you were very professional when they asked you about what did you think was going to happen in Game 5, because I would have said, who knows? Have you been watching? Because they sure look like the Invasion of the Body Snatchers game to game. It's like it's a crapshoot because it doesn't look like the same players are dressing for each team each game there. But, yeah, it was good to hear you. You guys had a good hour of talking. I'd kind of flipped away and flipped back and go, JJ, awesome, on TV, getting some good airtime. So good for you and all that.
Brought the ratings up, I told you.
Yeah, now you're going to be talking baseball and computers, and we had talked about it. Maybe they can get a prop like an R2-D2 or something so fans can still, razz them, or maybe they can have one come out and, maybe get some dressed up as a computer or R2 to throw the players out or the coach out. As I said a few months ago, how do you razz them? Do you say your mom's a fax machine, or how do you razz a computer? Or you brought about dial-up and stuff like that. So some of the parts is going to be taken away from there.
I like it.
Last little bit, a little different. As a Patriot fan, I don't think Vrabel and Belichick exchanged Christmas cards because Vrabel was part of the Matt Castle trade. And I think he didn't leave on the most wonderful terms, and I don't know how much if he ever did coach, actually, under Belichick. But he's done an outstanding job as a coach and all that. So as I always refer to him as Mac Davis in his second year, we're going to see what happens there. But I just hope for survival this year for the Pats. I'm not expecting great things. Jeff, just to throw in a little thing from you, because I'm not a wonderful fan of Deshaun Watson, would you want to play on a team with him with what's gone on the outside, or would it just not matter to you? So I'll get off and listen. You guys always do a great job. Take care.
That's interesting. I would say this. At that level, I would probably accept once the team makes a decision, like I don't know where you want your players to make those kind of decisions of I won't play with that person. It's a slippery slope because I think a lot of them probably have some issues that teammates know about that didn't come to light, and it's disgusting what some of these players through the years probably have gotten away with and are still getting away with, but fewer and fewer it seems. At least we hope maybe. So I don't know. I think at some point if you're committing to the team and collecting your paycheck, just like any other job, once you kind of accept the terms of I'm going to work here, I think you kind of have to accept who your coworkers are. And if not, you don't collect the paycheck anymore. So either you decide not to play, but once you decide you're going to play, then I don't think you can gripe about it, and I don't think you can do a whole lot about it. Your protest kind of has to end at some point if you're agreeing to play with him, and I think that's what those teammates at this point are. Deshaun Watson better win over some of his teammates pretty quick, because I don't think it's universal that he's just going to go in there and people are going to be on board with.
I think he already has.
You think he's won them all over?
Well,
He's starting to. He took them to the Bahamas.
That's a good start.
And Clowney said,
you're on it.
He's like, this is nothing against Baker. I hate poor Baker. But a lot of them want to stay because of Deshaun Watson.
Because they know how good he is. It's
just hard to say that because we haven't seen him in a while.
Deshaun Watson, there is no world you would take Baker Mayfield over Deshaun Watson if we're talking straight football. And that's what we're doing. And this is still a business. Those men are playing for their paychecks. Yeah. Those men are playing to win. And Deshaun Watson gives them the best shot to win. They don't have to like him. They don't have to agree with anything he's done. But as long as he's on the football field and they're suiting up for the same team, there's going to be zero issues.
I agree. And I think this will all be resolved by the time Deshaun Watson gets back, at least in the locker room and the teammates' minds, because they know at this point, if they have a problem and they don't want to play with Deshaun Watson, they're behind the scenes, or maybe some of them publicly will eventually say something, but like behind the scenes, they're trying to get out right now and probably telling them, look, I'm not going to be able to, this isn't going to work if I'm still here. I'm not going to play with the teammate that's done the things that it sounds like he has done. Even if not illegal, he put himself in some situations that I just can't even agree with, playing with the guy. My bigger issue is maybe this is the cynic in me. I don't think a lot of these guys would go that route, knowing that they have some other teammates that have probably done some similar things or put themselves in some situations like that. So I just don't see too many of them doing that at this point, backing off and saying, I refuse to play with the guy.
Because at the end of the day, you still got checks to cash. You still got a job to do. You want to win. You want to keep your said job. And for the Cleveland Browns, whatever you think about Deshaun Watson, because I get it, there's something there. That's way too much smoke to believe there might not be a little bit of fire. But also, when there's no criminal charges against him, if you're the Cleveland Browns, you take a step back and go, hey, we did our due diligence. We crossed the T's, dotted the I's, and here we go.
If you're – I think a better question would have been, especially since this legally has kind of already gone down the path of he's not going to be criminally charged with anything, I think the Greg Hardy scenario would probably have been a better question about how many players actually backed off and said, I will not play with this guy because he was beating women and he was doing this and actually had criminal charges and convictions. I think that was a scenario where, that put probably the locker room to the test more than I think what the Deshaun situation is going to put the locker room to the test.
You want to go to the phones, or is he okay with holding? Can he hold through the break? Can our next guest hold through the break so we don't blow up the clock too much? Let's take this break. He gets it. He's a superstar. The man himself, the real Jeff Symbieta, coming up next. Give us an update from his beach life living in Destin, Florida. It's Opening Drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Business or your home, Valley Fence stands alone. We're number one in New Mexico for a reason. It's the best fence you can own. Proudly serving New Mexico for over 50 years. At Valley Fence, the difference is clear. No fence too big, too small, or difficult. We handle them all at Valley Fence Company.
We would like to
to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
High school sports are back. You can watch every ProView Network broadcast online on the NFHS network. Every moment from every game from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProViewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch New Mexico's best.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
For certified collision and body repair, visit the experts at CarCrafters. 5 locations in Albuquerque and Rio Rancho. Visit carcrafters.com.
CarCrafters, it's like it never happened.
The energy landscape is limitless and ever-changing. Cleaner energy resources are crucial to New Mexico's environment. For 100 years, PNM has utilized cutting-edge technology and employed hard-working New Mexicans to ensure that we have consistent, reliable energy when we need it. For life's loudest moments, quietest moments, and every moment in between. We're dedicated to providing you with energy now and into the future. All you have to do is dream of what to do with it next.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
For 50 years, Clark's Pet Emporium has been your pet's favorite stop. Fish, birds, cats, dogs, reptiles, and small animals. Clark's has built a tradition of friendly, knowledgeable service focused on affordable, quality pet care products and food. Locally owned and operated with 2 convenient locations for all your pet needs, including an extensive selection of gifts for both owners and pets. 11200 Manal Northeast or 4914 Lomas Northeast. Clark's Pet Emporium is celebrating 50.
Oh, that's going to be a fun conversation tomorrow. We can maybe get into it a little bit. Are NBA fans not real fans?
Get off my lawn, fans.
Are they just a bunch of complainers, or is that just half of sports talk radio? It's like you complain about something you're not actually doing and are watching.
We're NBA fans.
We are NBA fans. We watched that second half. You might have been asleep, but I watched that second half.
Yeah, you were also on TV. Like if I was on TV, I wouldn't be asleep.
Well, I'm just trying to get like my guy. I'm just trying to get like the one and the only. It is the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Anna. Phil and Jeff Grammer, Albuquerque Journal, Amory, JJ Buck, and now joined by Jeff Zimbietta.
What's up, TV star? How you living?
What's up,
Good
man?
job, by the way.
I'm just trying to get like you. Trying to get like Mr. Symbieta.
Yeah, keep your hair. You don't want to be like me. Be like you, because you's really good. What's happening? You good?
We good. It looks like you're doing pretty good, man. A little morning in Destin with Conference USA. Sounding good, looking good.
Yeah, just get out of. I told you I had to do that presentation to the ADs and football coaches, and so that was quick and that was good. And have some meetings this afternoon. But I want to check in with you and Jeff. And hello, Mr. Kramer. How are you?
I'm good. Look, Destin was where the Lobos had a Thanksgiving tournament about 4 years ago. I think it was Paul Weir's first year. And
it was. In fact, I was here with you on that one.
Yeah.
Because Rob was with the football team in Boise, so I called those games, which is actually where Greg Heyer, the gym that we were in, is where Greg Heyer just left, the New Mexico State coach in Northwest Florida.
All the connections, and that's a pretty good little. I mean, I don't even want to belittle it, like by saying pretty good little. That's a good little gym for junior college. Like that's
really nice.
That's a pretty cool place.
Yeah, didn't they play? They played Miami and TCU in that tournament.
Yeah, and that was a really good tournament that the Lobos weren't going to win even in a good year. And at the beginning of that Paul Weir era, that wasn't a very good team. They got good by the end of that season, but that was when they were still, Joe Furstinger hadn't become Joe Furstinger of his senior year, and Sam Logwood still breaking through and all that. So anyway, that was an interesting tournament. The Lobos did not fare very well.
But it was good
I
to be
remember
invested.
that one, and we came here and we stayed at this exact same hotel, and I brought Audra and Addie with me on that trip. And so I said, all right, you guys want to go to the game? And they never left the place. They like, you go have fun. We're going to the beach. They never left this place.
Yeah, that place was pretty cool. I do Destin, Florida is not just South Beach, although South Beach is South Beach.
It's undefeated, yeah.
But yeah, Florida is not just the southern part of it. Like that Panhandle is got some interesting places too, and Destin's
well, the
great.
beaches are unreal, like the white sand beaches, and that's why so the Sunbelt was here last week. SEC is going to be here next week, and that's why they keep coming here. It's actually it's a really, really good spot. So actually, there was a lot of basketball talk. Greg Heyer's here, all the basketball coaches. I met a bunch of the basketball coaches in this league. This is, I think, Conference USA, when it's all said and done, is going to end up being a decent basketball league with Liberty and New Mexico State, Middle Tennessee, Western Kentucky are always good. I think this can end up being a pretty good basketball league.
I think that Greg Heyer has a tougher road ahead of him than maybe a whole lot of us have spent time, and certainly Aggie fans have spent time thinking about. But I think Greg Heyer has a good chance to get that program pretty good. I think year one's going to be really tough on him. There's a lot of excitement down there, a tough act to follow, obviously. But I think Greg's going to be pretty good for them. I don't know that year one's going to be the year that maybe a lot of Aggie fans want, but I'm excited to see what Greg might be able to do in that position at New Mexico State.
It's interesting because he's recruited, and it's kind of like a little buzz around basketball coaches here. Like, wow, he's really recruited. And then he's over, he was doing his Zoom recruiting and walked away from the session yesterday and was doing that. Told me a couple of weeks, when was that Aggie thing? When I saw you at that Aggie fair, and he says, give me 10 days. I'm going to have 3 more big ones to announce.
Yeah, the 3.
And that was the LSU the LSU recruit came in. That was one of them, and he says, "Yep, got a couple more coming."
2 more to go. I texted him when Xavier Pinson from LSU committed, and I texted him. I said, "All right, 1 down, 2 to go. We'll see if you're right."
Yeah, no, this is an interesting league, you guys. JJ was just in the room, so I looked around the room. Remember way back when we started New Mexico Bowl? Remember I told you when I went to the WAC meetings, and I looked around the room and the coaches that were there, Dennis Erickson and all the guys in that league at that time. Hal Mummy was in that league, and Pat Hill at Fresno State.
June Jones
was in the room. Yeah, June Jones was in that league. So this league in that room I just left, Rich Rodriguez, Hugh Freeze, Jerry Kill, Mike McIntyre, who was at Colorado, did such a great job at San Jose State. There's some really good coaches in this league too, and obviously as college football evolves and college basketball, college athletics evolve, Conference USA is going to be an interesting one. And this is, I didn't know what I was getting into when I came here because of all the tumult that's been going on. But I've been here a number of times in the past, and this is the most. It feels like everybody's settled. Like there's no more. Everybody's looking around for the next few years. This is where they are. And I think for the first time this league, everybody's pulling on the same end of the rope. And Mountain West meetings were somewhat the same, right? You know, it feels like the dust is relatively settled on this round of expansion or realignment or whatever we call it. And I know this league was somewhat left for dead, but I look around the room and at the coaches, and give it a few years, I think they're going to be okay.
I think that was big when we were talking about initially when the story was breaking, New Mexico State going to Conference USA. There was still so much uncertainty at that time. But as you said, the teams and schools they were able to keep, it was the right move. You had to make it for your football team, and it looks a lot better now for that basketball team.
Well, I just think you look at some of the markets, and Middle Tennessee was really the key. When Middle Tennessee said we're staying, and then people go, oh, who the hell's that? Nashville's a great market. They've had good basketball teams. Rich Stockstill's been there forever, and their football program's always good. And then Western Kentucky had a terrific quarterback and a good team last year. And so you start looking at the markets, and you say Nashville and Miami, and UTEP's got a good market. And you look around, they're going to be okay. Everything I hear about Liberty, the facilities, some of what Coach was telling me yesterday is that they have the money they have SEC facilities. So it's going to be an interesting league to watch. And, obviously from my perspective and why I'm here from New Mexico Bowl, we're Mountain West, and we're pool. But last year we had Conference USA, so we could have an American Athletic Association. We could have we've had MAC in the past. We've had everybody but Sunbelt, I think. And so it's interesting for us to watch this, and I'm rooting for them because obviously the better they are, the better the picking is. But I've got a different perspective, JJ, because I know you and I have had these conversations. How's this league going to survive? I think I've got a better security that they're going to be okay, and I think with the coaches they brought in, those are veteran coaches. Hugh Freeze was at Ole Miss and was in 2 New Year's Six games. Rich Rodriguez, with everything he did at West Virginia and Michigan and at Arizona, he's at Jacksonville State, transitioning them from FCS to FBS. And from what I hear, the facilities, I was talking to the athletic director, they put about $100 million into their facilities. And it's amazing where all this money comes from. But, I got a total new perspective on Conference USA because I was really concerned about that league, as you know, and I know you were too. And I think they're going to be okay.
Looking good coming out on top. New Mexico State, you know what? They finally got something to go their way, it feels like, in terms of the conference world. A good home for both football and basketball, which doesn't feel like they're going to get kicked out of in 3 or 4 years.
No, it feels like they belong. Hey, I wanted to I know this is 3 days old. You were out there yesterday. I just want to say thank you to everybody who came out for that fire relief drive on Saturday. Like I don't know what you expected, and I don't know what I expected, but it wasn't that. The overwhelming outpouring of support from people. When I left at 12:30, we've been going since 8, and we're on our 4th box truck full of stuff, and we're going till 4. Like the listeners that I met saw Howard there, saw Mud, just so many people. I just really, and I know this is somewhat old news, but since the fires are still going, it's not. I just want to say thank you to all those people who came out. Like JJ, that was honestly unbelievable. Jeff, there was a constant flow of cars. It wasn't traffic, but a constant line of cars. And the people, look, one lady said to me, I just spent $67 at Walmart on this stuff. And it's like, obviously that was a big deal. And thank you to her. And all the people who just, whether it was one bag of stuff or a whole truckload of stuff, I was amazed by the kindness. And it just gave me kind of a rejuvenated sense of humanity, and I don't know. I'm sure you went over this, but I just want to say thank you to all the listeners who came out because that was beyond amazing on Saturday.
Man, I'm right there with you. I echoed that same sentiment. I was like, you know what? Maybe we'll be okay. Maybe we can figure this thing out in Albuquerque and New Mexico because when people need to come together, they seem to do all right in this community with helping each other out.
Yeah, there was some kindness. There was a lot of kindness, and it was really, really, really cool. So, all right. Hey, I know you got Josh coming up. I don't want to eat into his time anymore, but just want to check in. I'll try to check in tomorrow. But, Jeff, thanks for filling the seat.
Absolutely.
And good job on TV, JJ. Great work.
I'm just trying to get like you, my man. Just trying to get like you.
Yeah, just be like you, and you're going to be great. You're going to be great. All right, boys.
We will talk to you later and see you back on Thursday. That is the man himself, Jeff Simbieta, New Mexico Bowl director. Some Conference USA meetings. He is doing work for you, Albuquerque, for New Mexico to make sure that game continues to be a marquee event in this state. Coming back on the other side, we'll talk with Josh Shushan. Isotopes back in town, but also ABS, automated balls and strikes for the first time ever at Isops Park. What does that mean for you? It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
The Gym.
Dream style stucco. Stucco is the way to go. A Southwest tradition, beautiful and durable. The perfect combination. Your favorite color, your favorite texture. You're gonna love it when they put it all together. Through any weather, nothing looks better. From the smooth to the rough, they really know their stuff. Nobody does stucco like Dream Style Stucco.
For your business or your home, Valley Fence stands alone. We're number one in New Mexico for a reason. It's the best fence you can own. Proudly serving New Mexico for over 50 years. At Valley Fence, the difference is clear. No fence too big, too small, or difficult. We handle them all at Valley Fence Company.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
High school sports are back. You can watch every ProView Network broadcast online on the NFHS network. Every moment from every game from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProViewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch New Mexico's best.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
We actually have a 3-day weekend, y'all.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud
do we?
supporter
Maybe?
of Pro.
I don't know. Our boss tells us to work a lot of holidays.
Wait, are we off Memorial Day?
I don't know.
Oh.
He tells us to work a lot of holidays, then he gives I'll give you a floating holiday later, but do we ever take them?
I didn't even check if we're off Monday. I just assume we're here.
I just always assume we're here as well. And we thank you for being with us here on the opening drive. A-Marie, JJ Buck, joined by Jeff Grammer of the Albuquerque Journal, who spends plenty of time himself out at Isotopes Park. He'll be there tonight, as is our next guest, the voice of the Albuquerque Isotopes, Josh Shushan. You hear him here all the time. He's now a television star. I don't think people realize how awesome you are, Josh. Your resume, and then you're on MLB Network, man. MLB Tonight is one of my favorite shows, and there you are talking automated balls and strikes on TV. What's up, man? How are you?
Hey, good morning, everyone. Yes, it's good to have you. Thank you for having me. What's happening? Yeah, ABS, it's a thing, and we're gonna see it tonight. And Jeff Grammer and all the other fans will get their first look at what it's like. And I think there'll be a very large number of people who will have no idea that it's any different, that a computer is calling balls and strikes instead of a human.
And that's exactly what you want. Is you don't want to see a difference. You want to see this big-time delay. We did have someone call in and ask, who are they supposed to yell at if they don't like the call?
That's a fair question. I can tell you that when we were in Salt Lake, I heard a lot of people yelling, "Come on up," like that kind of thing, which led me further to believe that they didn't realize that a computer was calling balls and strikes. What are some different names that have been used over the years for computers, right? I mean, I guess you could yell at Siri, you could yell at Alexa, you could yell at, and remember in War Games, I'm dating myself here, but Joshua was the name of the computer in War Games. Nice. I think there's, I don't know who we yell at.
I do think that this brings up a perfect promotional night, like an Office Space night.
Somebody's going to do it.
And then you could have in between innings someone beat up the automated balls and strikes computer. Just saying.
Come on, Blue.
I mean, there's still some tweaks. You know, I mean, there's a couple of pitches a night that aren't. You know, like we had these fears that a pitch would bounce in the dirt and then end up in the strike zone and it would be called a strike, or that a pitch would miss by 3 feet. You know, we haven't had any of those yet. You know, we've had some that have been borderline, but there's always borderline calls in, you know, with the humans calling balls and strikes. You know, what I think is interesting, the more I've thought about this, because you have a plate that's 17 inches, and they've added an inch on each side of the plate for a 19-inch strike zone. And the reason is because I guess that's what the normal strike zone is in Major League Baseball, and they want to replicate that. I don't know how they came up with that, but work with me here. So that's 19. But if any portion of the baseball touches the strike zone, even just a sliver of it, then that's called a strike. And a baseball is 3 inches wide. So now you're adding 3 inches to each side. So 17 and 2 is 19 plus 6 more. So it's actually a 25-inch strike zone, which makes it pretty darn wide if you think about it from an east-west standpoint. And so I'll be curious if they keep with that extra inch, whether or not they shorten that or what they do in the future.
Yeah, that's a lot of plate coverage if you're thinking about a batter. And you can adjust, you know, these guys are professionals and really good at what they do, as you said, to maybe an inch off the plate. But you're adding 2 or 3 inches. But it's something, Josh, that you've addressed. And they did that, was it in the International League, where they kind of expanded it and they actually saw more balls in play? Is that correct?
It was the Florida State League last year, which is single A. And, yeah, the first half of the season, they did a strike zone that was 17 inches wide, and it was a little bit higher and a little bit lower. And then the second half, they shrank it height-wise. The top and bottom, they shrank, and they expanded it. And, yeah, they put more balls in play. And that's the whole idea with all of these different experimental rules that are happening. The whole idea is there's too many strikeouts and there's too many walks in baseball. There's not enough action. We need to figure out a way for more stolen bases, more hit and runs, more athleticism, more diving catches, more robbing of home runs, just more action. And so while because it's very easy to make the argument of, well, the umpires are really good. Like, they don't miss that many calls. Is it really necessary to do all this? Well, the point is to try and get the guys to swing the bats more often, which the problem is it is better for you personally and it's better for your team if you work the count and you try to get walks, because walks help you. Walks lead to on-base percentage and lead to run score, all that kind of thing. And if you're a pitcher, if you strike somebody out, then you don't have to worry about the guy behind you not making the play. And so strikeouts get you paid, and strikeouts help you win games. And so it becomes this very counterintuitive thing where what helps you win games is aesthetically unpleasing. And so you're trying to figure out a way to merge those a little bit more.
So I'm wondering, you haven't seen anything. The fans probably aren't going to see anything majorly different, but the players, their reaction after one series, but also the umpires. Like you talked to them, I know, before the series. Were you able to interact with any of the umpires last series after a couple games?
I did not after the games. I was able to before the games. And, you know, even when, look, I wasn't trying to be Woodward and Bernstein, right? I mean, I just wanted to get some information. And when I asked them if a pitch is drastically out of the strike zone, are you still going to call it a ball? And they said, we're going to call the computer what the computer says. And I said, is that what you were told, or is that the decision that you've made? And they were basically dodging that question. So, you know, at that point, it's not worth getting into a major argument. You know, the radio guy for the Isotopes doesn't need to be like grilling these guys. But whether it's that's what they were told or whether that's what they're doing because that's their feelings about it, either way, you could also make the argument that if an umpire decides to override what the computer says, well, now it's messing with the data. And the whole idea of this is to learn what the data tells you and then follow the data on this. So we'll see what they have to see. I mean, look, there's still lots of things that a home plate umpire needs to do. It's not like you're taking away a job. You still have to call safe or out at the plate. You still have to call check swings. You still have to call a hit by pitch. You know, especially in the minor leagues where it's a three-man crew, you rotate a lot. If there's a ball that gets hit into right center, you move up to the third base and you have to make the call on a triple, and the umpire that's at first base then rotates home for a play at the plate. So there's still a lot of things that the umpires are doing, not to mention the home plate umpire in general. They just have to run the game. They just have to make sure that the game is moving along. There's the pitch clock. So there's a lot of things where they're still working just as hard as ever.
Well, let me do a quick follow-up on the home plate umpire. Did you notice any difference in the mechanics? Are they still squatting behind the catcher as though they need to see the pitch?
Yes,
it's the
100%.
same way.
Exact same mechanics. I thought that in Game 2, of the series that we had in Salt Lake, the home plate umpire for about the first 2 or 3 innings was a little bit later. And when I say a little bit, I mean like a second or a half second later in the mechanics. And it might just be that he was getting used to the earpiece and all of that. But, yeah, it looks no different. It's not like they're standing there with their arms crossed, you know, scowling or whatever. It's the exact same mechanics, which they have to do because if the internet goes down, then they immediately take over and calling balls and strikes the way they see it. And the other thing is, in case any of these umpires get called up to the major leagues, they're not using the ABS in the major leagues. So they need to be in the habit of doing things the way that they would, because umpires get called up to the major leagues just like players do.
Josh Shushan, voice of the Albuquerque Isotopes, joining us here on the opening drive. And the big theme of this is all this is for the game of baseball. It's for fans not to notice a huge difference. It's for fans to just see the pace of play, the pitch clocks, the balls and strikes, just to look the absolute same. And sounds like for the most part in Salt Lake City, that was the case. And fans still yelling at the umps, maybe some awkward looks from the batters back to the umpire, but then realizing, oh, it's really not in this guy's hands. It's a little bit of adjustment for everyone. Josh Shushan with us. Josh, though, we did see the Isotopes, they did their job. They prepared a player to go to the big leagues, and we saw a big-time moment from Brian Serven. The catcher goes up. He has a 2-homer game over the weekend for the Rockies in a win over the New York Mets. What did you just see from him this season? And then when you have a Tope go up there and make an impact, it's got to feel good.
It's so much fun, and the clubhouse was so pumped. They were all – his first start was whatever the day game was that we had in Salt Lake, so that was Wednesday. They were all gathered around a tablet in order to watch his first at-bat. I mean, he's a really popular guy in the clubhouse with everyone. And, I mean, that's the best part about being a AAA, right, is that one day I'm handing this guy his room key, and then the next day he's in the big leagues. And a few days after that, he hits 2 homers for his first 2 hits in the big leagues, you know. And Serven was with us for about 13 months, and he provided a lot of huge moments, right? Last year, Oklahoma City, the huge comeback from down 10, he hits 2 home runs in that one, including the walk-off. He hits a home run off Clayton Kershaw on a rehab assignment. And then to answer your question about this year, his throwing is so good, his game management so good, blocking pitches in the dirt. And then at the start of this season, he was drawing a lot of walks, getting on base that way. Kind of had a thumb injury that was bothering him. They gave him about 4 or 5 days off just to let that heal. And then once he came back from that, I mean, he has just shown his power, his average. Super pumped for him. You know, we see all the time, once you go up, don't come back unless it's on an exhibition game.
I would say, too, that he had a big part in handling the pitch clock, which was another new thing this year. But the catcher sort of has a role in making sure that goes smoothly as well.
Yeah, you better be on the same page with your pitcher, because if he shakes you off 2 or 3 times, you start getting really close to that clock, and that's where kind of a panic can happen. So you really got to make sure that your timing is right with your pitcher and that you're not, you know, that they can see your fingers, even just basic things like that. And yeah, he just handles everything so well. He's just the ultimate, you know, I call him central casting of a catcher. The way that he looks, the way that he talks, the way that his shoulders are, the way that he just carries himself, the way that he interacts with players from all different countries. He's central casting for a catcher.
And there's not many that can handle a broadcast like Josh Shushan. Back in action at home tonight, 6:15. He'll take over the mic here on the Sports Animal. Start a 6-game set against Round Rock. Josh, we'll see you out of the ballpark, man. I always appreciate the time.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Okay. That is Josh Shushan, and that's the whole point of that, is to not notice a difference in the game. Find ways to keep the game going, maybe find some more action, but you as a fan, the little tweaks, that's what it's about. It's about the game of baseball that you're watching that you can enjoy. It's opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Networks.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
For certified collision and body repair, visit the experts at CarCrafters. 5 locations in Albuquerque and Rio Rancho. Visit carcrafters.com.
CarCrafters, it's like it never happened.
The energy landscape is limitless and ever-changing. Cleaner energy resources are crucial to New Mexico's environment. For 100 years, PNM has utilized cutting-edge technology and employed hard-working New Mexicans to ensure that we have consistent, reliable energy when we need it. For life's loudest moments, quietest moments, and every moment in between. We're dedicated to providing you with energy now and into the future. All you have to do is dream of what to do with it next.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
For 50 years, Clark's Pet Emporium has been your pet's favorite stop. Fish, birds, cats, dogs, reptiles, and small animals. Clark's has built a tradition of friendly, knowledgeable service focused on affordable, quality pet care products and food. Locally owned and operated with 2 convenient locations for all your pet needs, including an extensive selection of gifts for both owners and pets. 11200 Manal Northeast or 4914 Lomas Northeast. Clark's Pet Emporium is celebrating 50 years. Thank you, Albuquerque, the Pet Supply Superstore. ClarksPets.com.
High school sports are back. You can watch every ProView Network broadcast online on the NFHS network. Every moment from every game from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProViewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch New Mexico's best.
Dream style stucco. Stucco is the way to go. The Southwest tradition, beautiful and durable. The perfect combination. Your favorite color, your favorite texture. You're gonna love it when they put it all together. Through any weather, nothing looks better. From the smooth to the rough, they really know their stuff. Nobody does stucco like Dream style stucco.
For your business or your home, Valley Fence stands alone. We're number 1 in New Mexico for a reason. It's the best fence you can own. Proudly serving New Mexico for over 50 years. At Valley Fence, the difference is clear. No fence too big, too small, or difficult. We handle them all at Valley Fence Company.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
High school sports are back. You can watch every ProView Network broadcast online on the NFHS network. Every moment from every game from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProViewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch New Mexico's best.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Don't sacrifice
FC. That game on Saturday was postponed due to COVID issues within Phoenix's camp. That's a heated rivalry. They haven't played this game in 3 years in Albuquerque.
Good for Phoenix and their miraculous 3-day turnaround from costing United a Saturday night game at the Lab to now a UNM Tuesday night game that won't have nearly as many people. So I'm sure the turnaround for not being able to play on Saturday to being able to play safely on Tuesday was well worth it.
And it's Devin Sandoval's first game back, correct?
Yes, they re-signed Big Dev. Good to see him back. He had the heart issues, which we thought actually ended his professional career. We thought those would keep him off the pitch. They bring him back. You look at Big Dev, just the energy, the presence in that locker room. He's going to be a late game guy. Big Dev is not going to give you 90 good minutes anymore. He's just not. It's not who he is. But you put him in the mixer, you need one. You got a lot of pressure late in the game. Those free kicks, those corner kicks, you can find a way to put him back in the net.
Listen, it's a short week for most people. Just go out and support local sports.
You can just go back and forth. You can
Back
watch
and
some
forth.
baseball, you
Yep.
can watch some soccer. It's all
Let me tell you something. These Topes game go by a lot quicker now.
A fun parking lot.
Yes.
Get there early, Jeff.
UNM's parking crew is good for UNM. They're going to make a couple dollars tonight.
You're going to make a couple bucks. It is the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal. It's Jeff Grammer, Albuquerque Journal, Amory, JJ Buck with you. And, Jeff, you were telling me about a parenting moment that you had with your daughter. And it makes sense because what's coming out this weekend? Top Gun Maverick.
This was a month or two ago. I did put it on Twitter. Some of you may have seen it there, but I was driving and my 12-year-old daughter's in the car.
Aw.
I needed to get some gas, and she's helping me out. I said, hey, we about to run out of gas. She said, there's a Maverick. And I responded instantly with, talk to me, Goose. She said, what? What are you talking about?
No.
And I kind of was at a crossroads in my mind. Like, I took her home, drove her straight home, and put her in a chair and made her watch Top Gun, first of all. And then I'm kind of torn. I didn't know if it was a good parenting moment that I made sure she went and watched Top Gun, or if it was a horrible parenting moment because she's 12 and has not yet seen Top Gun. And I still don't know. I wrestle with it. I stay up late at night wondering if I've failed as a parent or if it was a successful moment because I made her watch it. But she could not quote a single line of Top Gun to me that day, and I cried.
I think it was very important. I think that was a great parenting move right there.
I appreciate you saying
There
that. Thank
is movies your kids must see. I mean, Austin is a little young, but when he gets to that age, he has to see Top Gun.
Yes, my thing is Fast and the Furious.
Oh, okay.
I think that movie franchise, it teaches you life lessons. It's what family is all about. It's about not turning your back on family, the different ways families can look, the different people that can be in your family. So Fast and Furious all day, every day, life lessons, right there from start to finish.
And make sure they watch the original Space Jam before the LeBron one.
Yes,
that's good.
I think that's
fair.
very important, and I'm not taking away from LeBron's Space Jam.
I'm
I'm saying you
seen LeBron's
have
Space
to
Jam
watch
yet.
the original one first.
Because I know it's the new era Space Jam. Yeah, if you listen to Jim Rome, he hates it because he's not in it.
Okay, I didn't hate it. I'm just saying
There's certain
it's
certain movies,
hard
like-
to
and you're bringing it up. And
compete
it's
with.
so funny because ESPN has a cover story about is Tom Cruise good at running?
What?
Because he is in so many action movies. There's a lengthy story on ESPN breaking down Tom Cruise and his running style. By the way, he was a high school wrestler.
Yep.
Good on you, Tom
Okay.
Cruise.
And they go all the way down to how he holds his hands while he runs in the movies.
Oh my gosh, it's acting.
He acts like a pretty solid runner. It sounds like I think they give him mostly a passing grade. I think for his running ability and Tom Cruise, who's a small guy. I don't know how good of an athlete he is or not, but he has certainly played the part of an athlete a few times and of an athletic or at least a action star kind of guy. And that begs the question to bring it back to Top Gun. As I was telling you earlier, was there ever more of a throwaway, meaningless scene than the volleyball scene in Top Gun? Had nothing to do with the movie, but I think it appeased a certain demographic, if you will, those guys and their shirtless volleyball scene. And other than that, it had nothing to do with Top Gun.
If you're going to put in that much work, like if I ever got to that point, absolutely, I'd want my volleyball scene. Val Kilmer once was shredded.
He was shredded. And they're just doing volleyball scene for the sake of having a bunch of.
And they're bringing it back in Top Gun Maverick because why the heck not?
I mean, you gotta.
Heck yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm surprised it took this long to make another Top Gun.
Well, they were supposed to release it 3 years ago.
Yeah. Well, of course.
Then COVID hit, and Tom
COVID
Cruise
lasted
is
like 5
insane.
years.
Well,
and he's
in
like,
1 year.
you can't watch this movie if it's not in a movie theater.
Have you heard that, I don't think I'm giving away any spoilers or anything because there's stories out on it, but Val Kilmer is in this movie, and Val Kilmer, who cannot talk because he had throat cancer,
That's so sad.
I'm looking forward to it.
He has speaking scenes in this, and there are stories out there as to how that happened, and it's pretty cool. Yeah. But Tom Cruise insisted that Val Kilmer be in this movie.
That's good. And you know what? I love it. Because it's a classic action flick. I'm all about that life. Let me enjoy this weekend. They're dropping Stranger Things 4 on May 27th as well. Give me my 3 days because the conference finals sure as heck don't want to entertain me. So I'm going to find something that will. OTAs.
OTAs,
and
yes.
Netflix.
Yes.
That's what we're doing.
Yes.
This weekend.
This is what we're doing.
Because tonight, is it over? Do the Golden State Warriors sweep the Dallas Mavericks?
Yes.
Yes. They're just going to rest while the other conference finals goes to Game 7.
And where are you on Luka Doncic in all this? Is he
I think he's
doing too much? Is he not doing enough? Does he not trust his teammates? Is this James Harden 2.0?
I don't know what piece you need to put along with him, but he obviously, for the evolution of that franchise, like you need to put something with him. And I'm not entirely sure what you put with the guy who's so ball dominant and kind of is at his best when he is at his best when 4 other guys on the court are out of his way. Now there's some pick and roll. So I guess maybe you need somebody setting a pick every now and then, but like he seems to be at his best and most exciting when he just kind of takes over games himself and nobody else is involved. I don't know if you take some of that away from him if you put a star next to him.
We're going to be breaking down Luka Doncic tomorrow. Will we see at least an entertaining game in a conference final tonight? We shall see. I want to thank Josh Sushan for joining us here tonight. Back in action, Isotopes Baseball, 6:15. They started a 6-game set against Round Rock. Jeff, man, I always appreciate the time you give us waking up in the morning. It's a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
I can be your wingman anytime.
Thank you, sir. Amory, wonderful. We'll see you tomorrow. And also, hey, thanks to Jeff Symbieta calling in from beautiful Destin, Florida. We got Jim Rome Show coming in next. Colin Cowherd follows that. 2 minutes on into Isotopes Baseball. Keep it here on The Sports Animal, everybody. Meta World, peace and love. We'll talk tomorrow.
Sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
For certified collision and body repair, visit the experts at CarCrafters. 5 locations in Albuquerque and Rio Rancho. Visit carcrafters.com.
It's like it never happened.
The energy landscape is limitless and ever-changing. Cleaner energy resources are crucial to New Mexico's environment. For 100 years, PNM has utilized cutting-edge technology and employed hard-working New Mexicans to ensure that we have consistent, reliable energy when we need it. For life's loudest moments, quietest moments, and every moment in between. We're dedicated to providing you with energy now and into the future. All you have to do is dream of what to do with it next.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
For 50 years, Clark's Pet Emporium has been your pet's favorite stop. Fish, birds, cats, dogs, reptiles, and small animals. Clark's has built a tradition of friendly, knowledgeable service focused on affordable, quality pet care products and food. Locally owned and operated with 2 convenient locations for all your pet needs, including an extensive selection of gifts for both owners and pets. 11200 Manal Northeast or 4914 Lomas Northeast. Clark's Pet Emporium is celebrating 50 years. Thank you, Albuquerque, the Pet Supply Superstore. ClarksPets.com.
Dream style stucco. Stucco is the way to go. The Southwest tradition, beautiful and durable. The perfect combination. Your favorite color, your favorite texture. You're gonna love it when they put it all together. Through any weather, nothing looks better. From the smooth to the rough, they really know their stuff. Nobody does stucco like Dream style stucco.
High school sports are back. You can watch every ProView Network broadcast online on the NFHS network. Every moment from every game from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProViewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch